episode.
Yeah, welcome back to the first official because it's on the Twitch. We're talking about lore because it's what this is. It's a lore stream. Um, well, here's the thing. We're talking about the Knights of Ren. I don't really care about the Knights of Ren. I'm not gonna lie.
Gasp.
I didn't care about the Knights of Ren.
End podcast.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's the
I'm
thing.
just
like,
kidding.
everyone was like, "Oh, we didn't hear about the Knights of Ren from Star Wars Episode 8." It's like, well, I didn't care. I didn't care about Snoke either, so
Well, yeah.
I really didn't care. So
Well,
whenever,
now no one
They never really gave.
cares.
They never really gave us a reason to care about either of those.
I know,
Yeah,
dude.
You know, it was
It was just
the
a, it
whole
was just
thing
a
was.
flash.
Oh, it was the classic JJ mystery box. Where it's like, here, I'm just gonna present you with part of a thing, and then of course the Last Jedi came through and was like, yeah, well, forget all that. You know, throw that box in the trash. But what we do need is big sea cows. Big
Oh,
sea
yeah,
cows.
with
That's what we got. Put
the
that in. Put that in.
green
Keep that
milk.
in there.
Free
Green milk.
Snoke.
Love it.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
was-
Visionary. Ryan Johnson.
My guy.
Man.
Well,
Kubrick. You know.
what if I
Hitchcock,
told you I don't
Ryan
actually,
Johnson. Whew.
What if I told
On
you I
top
don't
of it.
mind Star Wars Episode 8?
You
Well, then I
triggered.
would say.
Gotta be.
Okay,
Well-
define don't mind. Define don't mind.
Well, you see, it's a Star Wars movie and it's a fantasy
Oh.
movie. So, I mean,
Oh.
people get up in arms about a fantasy movie, a movie about Star Wars, and I sit there and go,
Oh,
well, this is a fake world. You can add or subtract whatever you want. And I mean, is it really going to change? No, because it's there forever. So you can either get mad at it all the time or just say, hey, it's a Star Wars movie. I'm not going to get up in arms about.
No, but
but is it
I-
a Star Wars movie though?
but is it really?
It's more like a fan, like a, you know what I mean? Like a, what do you call it? Like a
fanfic?
fan fiction.
Fan
movie.
fiction?
Yeah, man.
Isekai?
Yeah, Ryan Johnson just
Wait,
made
no,
a
that's
Star
not-
Wars.
I mean, man, as soon as I knew that we were going to be talking about stars, I knew immediately. It's like, oh, well, this is going to be all on The Last Jedi.
Yeah, basically.
We're gonna break
Well,
that
we
down.
could talk about Star Wars 1313, the canceled LucasArts
Oh,
game.
oh, yeah, right.
Or the
so,
Darth Maul game?
Darth
Or we can
Maul.
talk about
Yeah.
the
Or Darth Maul's
Star
not
Wars
dead.
Christmas
Hashtag.
special.
Why don't we
Yeah.
talk about Solo? That's some lore to
Okay.
a character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
like-
That nobody asked for. Nobody asked for that lore.
You know who?
Yeah.
Nobody asked for it, but it was better than The Last Jedi.
Hey.
What?
More than what?
I enjoyed it more than The Last Jedi.
Lando Calrissian.
Okay, I will say same thing for me. However, I also came out of the experience feeling pretty disappointed overall.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know.
when-
Well, it didn't
and-
add it. Well, the
my
thing is-
reasoning,
Yeah, go ahead.
my reasoning for that whole thing is feeling kind of about it is I came out of it feeling like, okay, so there've been, you know, this is of course just a personal thing, but there have been 4 Star Wars movies since, you know, that Disney decided just to reinvigorate the franchise, and I've only thoroughly enjoyed, like, thought, wow, that was really, really good. I've only thought that of one of them.
Yeah, which
know?
one's that?
And that would be Rogue One. And yeah, I had
Oh,
its
yeah.
problems, and other people
Dude,
were
Rogue
like,
One was
oh,
great.
you know, it's whatever. And I get it. Like, it definitely has problems. But I came out of that feeling like, wow, that felt like it belonged in the universe to me, and it felt like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, they're actually making something, you know, worth watching. And then out of Solo, I was like, it was so paint by numbers, and it was so just blah that I was like, this is not going to get me back on board with this franchise. Like, the damage to that the Last Jedi did,
Mhm.
for me, a mediocre thing is not going to fix that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Here's what I'll say about The Last Jedi. Like, and I guess this is my question to the group is, since we're talking about lore, what aspect of the lore what aspect of the president that is Star Wars, you know, I guess you could say was disrespected
Well,
by Episode 8.
by Episode 8 or
Okay.
by Solo? Because Solo didn't
I
add.
guess
We
both.
could talk both,
Yeah,
I
well, 'cause
guess.
Solo-
Yeah, we could talk both.
Usually, whenever you do like a prequel or like an in between, like a something, it adds something to the lore. It was literally, it didn't add anything. It didn't.
No, yeah.
No.
I agree.
I guess it kind of told us how he got his last name, how he got the Millennium
Oh, God.
Falcon.
But we
But-
didn't need to know any of that.
Yeah, we didn't need to.
No,
because it
well,
was explained well enough in the the
And he is
original.
Yeah.
he is a rather mysterious character for
Mhm.
like the first two films.
Yeah.
You know, he is painting
Yeah.
mystery. It kind of breaks down that
Yeah.
mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I enjoyed Solo,
Yeah.
Mhm.
only because a dumpster fire and it wasn't. I really liked.
Yeah, that's true.
I really liked the guy. I forgot his name. I'm terrible, but you know the guy who played Lando.
Yeah.
The
Donald Glover.
yeah, Don Glover,
Yeah.
Childish Gambino. I thought he was a good.
He was.
I don't know. No, it was entertaining, but yeah, I do agree that a mediocre thing isn't gonna yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone loves Star Wars, and I'm still gonna love what kind of flaws they may have put in with the last two movies, but
Mhm.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah, Episode 7 wasn't terrible. Rogue
But-
One was pretty darn good.
yeah,
I'll say this about Solo though.
Yeah.
'Cause I know Andy and I watched them together, and we all
Yeah, we
came to the
did.
conclusion of like that. You know, Noah's right. Like the whole point of Han Solo's character is that he is mysterious, and by
yeah.
you know you create a movie about him, and like there's not a lot of mystery left after this movie. Not to mention
That's
that
true, yeah.
the character at the end of Solo, it's nowhere near what the character at the beginning of A New Hope is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in
Yeah,
New
no.
Hope, yeah, in New Hope he's just like this jaded, you know, outlaw. Like I'm a smuggler, and
Yeah.
I'm this hardcore
I'm in this
dude.
for myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then he
Mhm.
finds a reason to fight for other people. And that was like his whole redemptive arc in the OT. But in the Solo, they literally have the line, and Amelia Clark says a line like, "Well, you might be the bad guy, but you're always the hero," or something like that. And it's just like,
yeah,
yeah, okay, really?
He never really was a bad guy in the movies either. All he was trying to
No.
do is just find his
Yeah, it's
girl.
all for himself.
You know.
Well,
that's fair.
well, in the original, it was all about himself. In this one, he had
Yeah.
a girl to go get, which
Yeah.
made no sense either, because he didn't care about a girl until Leia came around.
Yeah, he wasn't tied down. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't think about it this like critically because the person I watched it with was not a Star Wars fan. So
Yeah,
not
I
to
watched
mention
that.
that like the way they explained his last name to me was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
it was trash.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
My name's Han.
Okay, so-
Han what?
All right, so this opens up.
Solo.
Yeah, no. So this opens up an entire. This opens up a problem, a huge problem in the Star Wars galaxy. Okay, let's say that this opens up a problem. So the whole situation was, oh, you're signing up for the Empire, and they're like, okay, what people group are you from? What's your last name? Basically, was in Star Wars form is what he was asking, and he's like, oh, I don't have any. Oh, well then you're Solo. Let me
Yeah.
write that down. You know, he basically gave him that name. Well, if that's how he got his name. And if that's like a standard, if that's how the Imperials take anybody who doesn't have names, there should be thousands of Solos running around.
Yeah, that's
thousands. Like every
fair.
stormtrooper should be like, you know, it's retarded. It's so it's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense
No,
that they would have to explain what his name is.
Yeah, that could have just been his
Yeah,
last
that's a
name. And I
huge-
would believe it. I would have believed it. That's just his last
Yeah,
name.
exactly.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a huge point. I did not even think.
Can we
Yeah.
can we now talk
got
about Darth
hella
Plagueis the
Solo-
Wise?
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Oh,
Well,
Plagueis the Wise.
that's so,
We can. I would say we can
It's a
talk
story-
about
oh,
Darth Maul. and
okay.
all.
I had a very
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
No, well, like speaking of Darth Plagueis, I had a very like entertaining conversation with somebody like whether Darth Plagueis is Anakin's father or whether Palpatine is Anakin. And yeah, what do you guys think? Because you know about the whole Darth Plagueis thing, and that people assume that because Darth Plagueis was able to like use the Force to create life, that
Well, I
he
mean,
may.
yeah. That question was
Might.
actually like officially answered in the Darth Vader comic that came out,
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
and it was that Sidious was the one who did it, was the one who manipulated the Force and set up the whole thing.
Oh.
So
You know,
he
but that's
so
That would make
I'm confused. So
Mhm.
so Darth Sidious is actually Darth Plagueis?
Darth
No.
Sidious is Palpatine.
No, they're not the same person. Sidious is Palpatine, but the whole thing was that, like the thing was like, well, because the mystery of Anakin was, well, he just kind of just came into being, like, virgin birth type stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus.
what's that? And then in the Darth Vader comic, it was revealed that Sidious, manipulated things and basically created. I don't know how I feel about that. In some
Oh.
ways, I'm like, I don't.
He's the one who
I
put the
think it's stupid. In other
midichlorians.
ways, I'm like, honestly, I don't really care because it doesn't really change much. It
Yeah.
doesn't really
Well-
affect much at all.
So
I will
Anakin
say,
was
like,
created
it
out of
does-
thin air.
Kinda.
No,
Well,
it wasn't like thin air. There was some sort of like, the mystical force and using dark side powers or whatever. I didn't read it, so that just means I probably shouldn't talk about it at all. But I know that's as far as I know.
Come on, it's a podcast. You got to talk about what you don't know.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. Disclaimer.
Who do you think I am, Joe Rogan?
Oh,
Oh,
Alex Jones.
Can we talk about the lore? Can we talk about the lore of Joe Rogan right quick?
I don't know anything about this guy. So you already did this.
Yeah, Joe
We
Rogan.
already did
Well,
this. Remember, we
hey,
already
that's why
did
we
this.
talked about it, right?
Who influenced the Force to create Joe Rogan?
Alex Jones, dude, obviously.
Oh my gosh, we've just discovered a conspiracy.
He's the one who put the midichlorians in the water that turned the frogs gay.
Oh,
You turned the freaking frogs gay.
Oh gosh, I know a piece of lore that I am a big fan of, and that's the Genndy Tartakovsky Star Wars that came out in 2003, the 2-part miniseries.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh yeah, the guy who made Samurai
What is
Jack.
that?
Oh,
Oh,
it-
no, I do remember
that
that.
one that takes place between
Yeah,
episode
see-
2 and 3, and it helps. It
The Clone Wars.
It
Oh, the
adds
Clone
to it.
Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but before
The-
the,
the, like,
TV
the-
show.
the animated one, not
Yeah.
the CG animated.
Yeah, the good one. I did the 2-part. It added
The
stuff.
one
with
with
No,
Obi-Wan.
lore.
it's the one that was animated by the same people who did Samurai Jack. So it's
Yeah.
meant-
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
we're
that
talking
point-
about, right?
Mhm.
I remember
The
that.
pointy beard Obi-Wan Anakin one.
Yeah.
You know, where he's got that big pointy
Yeah.
beard.
Oh yeah.
Dude, and
Yeah.
Windu's head is like super circular, like a light bulb. It's scary.
He made Mace Windu a good character.
Yeah. Dude, I always liked Mace Windu.
It
I'm a
explains.
guy-
I always thought he was cool.
It explains
gotta-
like how.
I got-
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I gotta be honest, I haven't seen it. I just know of it.
Oh,
Someone
wow, no.
Someone put it on YouTube, and it's like 2 hours and 12 minutes for both. Both
nice.
of them.
Yeah.
Do we have that,
Might give
Jamie?
a-
Can we pull it up?
Yeah, can we pull that up, Jamie?
I mean, I've got it up right now on my screen.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Nick, are you on,
Yeah,
Jamie?
Jamie? Who's Jamie? Is this for this Joe Rogan person?
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
You don't know who Joe?
This Joe
Rogan?
Rogan person?
I don't know.
This Joe Rogan person?
Well, let's
Trigger.
let me look up Joe Rogan. I swear I've seen like one of his
It's-
things.
It's Sir Rogan to you, sir.
Sir Oh, this bald guy. Yeah, I think I saw him do it on like.
This bald guy.
I think I saw his thing on like martial arts.
Sensei Rogan. Sensei Rogan.
I think I saw
Master
something
Rogan.
about martial. Yeah, martial arts. That's the one. Someone was like, you need to really watch his thing about martial arts, and I was like, yeah, okay, dude.
I like how you go, oh yeah, that bald guy.
Yeah, because I've seen like this one picture, one guy, and it was like, oh, I think it was this one about jujitsu, or why he
I don't
started
know.
doing martial arts. It was one, I don't care.
Listen, as long as, back to Star Wars real quick, as long as we all can agree that Han did not shoot first. All right, can we all get on that?
Oh yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh.
Han didn't
Definitely.
shoot first. Right,
Absolutely.
right.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it would make sense if he
Absolutely.
shot first, though.
No, he did shoot first. That's
He
the
did shoot
joke. That's the joke, Nick.
He did.
It makes sense that he shot first. I mean, you think he doesn't
Yeah.
want to take the upper hand at any moment? Of course, he get the upper hand. If I had the opportunity to shoot someone first, I would.
But you do every day.
Speaking of that scene and Greedo in that scene, here's a fun fact about that. When they were making the Phantom Menace, there was going to be a scene, they didn't put it in there, But there's that one in the pod racing scene. There's that little Rhodian, the green, the smaller kid version of that green alien, the Rhodian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Greedo, and there was going to be another scene where later that kid gets into trouble. Like he's getting in a fight or something. I think he gets in a fight with Anakin or something like that. And then like after they break it up and he kind of walks away, somebody shouts at him, "You better be careful or you're gonna get into trouble, Greedo."
Wait, really?
Name dropping fee.
That was
$20.
that was going to happen, but they decided against that. Thank God.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
no,
a
they
bit
tried
too
to
far.
connect
Good job, Star Wars.
everything. They tried to connect. I hated that scene in episode 2 whenever they're on Geonosis and they're like, "We have the plans for the ultimate weapon," and it's the Death Star on Geonosis. I'm like, don't hand that off to Dooku, you dinguses.
No, don't.
That makes sense though.
Yeah,
I guess
like they're
it
Rogue
bad.
One
does.
does that too, though.
Hmm?
Rogue One, there's that one scene
Yeah.
where they literally bump into the guy who's like, "I don't like you and I'm gonna kill you," and I think he
Yeah.
says the exact same line
Oh,
as
yeah.
on New Hope.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
He doesn't
come
like you
on.
either.
I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna make a
like-
joke. I thought you were gonna make a joke and be like, "Yeah, I didn't like how in Rogue One they like actually had the plans at the end. Like that's so unrealistic." Can't believe they did- What
I
fan
hated it in Rogue One.
Oh, gross! No, they keep retconning everything.
starting with the end of the first movie? Come on, get
Oh,
out of here. That's so.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Fan service? No, thank you.
Dude, I'm just waiting for J.J. Abrams to just Days of Future Past Star Wars. Just the whole everything.
Oh,
Everything.
Jeez, yeah. Okay, so
I will
is
say-
based on. Yeah, this is based that what Benny just said. The Days of Future Past, the like time travel idea, is something I have to get credit where it's due because it's not my theory. It comes from Red Letter Media.
Oh, I
I
know.
don't know if you guys watch them.
I don't know. I
or
don't
you
watch
know
them.
of them. You probably. I mean,
I've heard
they
of
do
them.
film reviews on YouTube and stuff like that. So.
Mhm.
And I like them a lot. But they had a video where they predicted, like, okay, what's going to happen in the next Star Wars? What's going to happen in Rise of Skywalker? And one of them, Mike, came up with this idea, and he was like, this is my crazy idea. This is like the out of reach crazy idea. What haven't they done in Star Wars yet? They haven't done time travel.
Mm.
So they're thinking, like, his concept was based on the fact that Endgame did so well and undid all of Thanos' stuff with
Spoilers.
time travel. Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's a bit late for that.
But
Yeah. Just a couple months late.
well, if you haven't,
It's your
if
own
you don't know
fault at
that,
this
just
point.
time travel back to before I say this, or time travel like forward.
So retcon this, what you're saying?
Yeah.
Retcon me talking about retconning?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But anyway, the concept was, well, what haven't they done in Star Wars? They haven't done a time travel thing where Rey goes back and fixes all the stuff or something like that.
Mhm.
And that's why they're on they have to go to the Death Star, and that's why they run into the Emperor or something like that.
Ooh,
And I'm like, that's scary, to be honest.
that'd be good. I would watch
Oh,
that.
No,
half of
dude,
me-
it'd be scary.
Half of me wants to see that happen just so I can watch Star Wars burn.
Oh my
The other
god.
part of me is like, well, that'll be it, you know? They can't really go back from that. Like, they can't go even more ridiculous than that, you know?
I mean,
As
look
soon
at
as time travel
X-Men.
gets introduced, well, as soon as time travel gets introduced into everything becomes so much more complicated.
Yeah, it's
Except Back to the Future.
true. That is also
Back to
true.
the- Well, the thing is, Back to the Future handled it in a way where it was linear. Like it wasn't like all these alternate universes, and you know, it was a
Yeah,
much
it's just like, oh, if
simpler
you don't-
concept.
Yeah. Time
Dude,
travel.
what if they
is
did do
kinda
time
destroy-
travel?
Time travel.
I feel like
Oh, dude.
it would. I feel like it would destroy it. Everyone would be upset. That's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
the one thing
Mm-hmm.
where you royally piss off every Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
There'll be no winners
Yeah.
from that.
Well, I'm gonna say it's a
Well,
Star
yeah.
Wars movie and it's a fantasy movie.
Oh goodness, just use that.
No, man, it's not just a Star Wars movie,
It's a
man.
way of life. It's
You
a
just
way
don't
of
get
life.
it. You just don't get it.
I've been watching Star Wars
Dude.
before all of
All
you were
collect-
born.
So is the Christmas special canon? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. After in 20 years, when Disney or whoever supplants Disney buys the franchise and does this again, That's gonna be their basis.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just Chewbacca's
The Christmas
They're gonna
episode.
make the Star Wars
Also-
Holiday Special with updated graphics and everything, and that's gonna be.
Oh, God.
That's gonna be where they start.
Star Wars Holiday Special Remastered.
Dude, I wish,
yeah.
honestly. You gave the man porn.
Did they call it? Did they call it Christmas special? Because they can't say Christmas.
Holiday
No, it's a
special.
holiday special.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
all
Holiday.
It's
What are our
Christmas.
bases here?
They sing at the end of.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I've seen that thing. I've seen that thing twice all the way through.
really? I've seen it 0
Why?
times. I'm about to watch it 0
I've seen
more
it.
times. Oh.
No, it's
I have-
it's definitely worth it. No, this is what I'm thinking. You know, it's definitely worth it for every Star Wars fan to watch it because
Oh wow.
because
So rite of
even if you
passage.
hate the Last Jedi, even if you hate the prequels, even if you hate whatever, insert Star Wars something that most people hate, right?
Yeah.
You cannot get worse than that.
That's true.
You can
Yeah,
try
that's
really
true.
hard, like Ryan Johnson did, but in the end of it, he still came out with a beautiful looking movie. Right?
Yep. That's true.
The holiday special has none of that.
At least the Last Jedi didn't have Chewbacca's.
That's true.
That's true.
Nah, we need more. Yeah.
Mm.
I'll say this.
Harry,
I'll say this about The Last Jedi. So the last scene, right?
Yeah.
I was watching it in theaters, and you know the whole- the
right?
no 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 like the scene where they're like the last stand or whatever, and like they're riding those really crappy
Benny, step back.
those really
Oh,
crappy
Benny,
yeah.
step
and
back.
like and it's the sand that's like red.
Benny, step
You know what I'm talking
back
about?
a bit. Step back a bit. My dude, you're blowing my ears out.
Excuse you. They actually have a line in the movie where he picks up the sand
It's
and he's
salt.
like, "What is this? It's salt. Get it right. You're not a real fan."
It's so
Anyway, whatever that is.
Anyway,
And
continue.
in the back of my head, I was going, wait a minute. Isn't this basically the Battle of Hot reskinned?
it's a
not
retexture.
even basically, dude.
It's
It's-
very
yeah.
similar.
It's hey,
And-
look, it's an homage to Battlefront 2. We're just gonna take what was good and make it worse.
But see, when
Oh, yeah.
I kept my opinions to myself, I was brave enough. No, listen. I didn't think.
Just now.
Well, Edgar Wright was there.
No.
so, I
Like
mean,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Like, you know, I didn't know that people caught on, right? So one day I was like, let me see if people caught on, and I say it, and they were like, yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
duh.
I
The
mean,
What?
Edgar Wright was in that. Edgar Wright was in those trenches, my dude. So I mean,
Was it really?
Mhm.
yeah, he was a little guest cameo.
that's-
You could see him for about 2 frames.
Oh my gosh.
He showed up on set
Yeah,
and was like,
everybody
in and
has been. So everybody's been in Star Wars now. Like
Basically.
everybody.
out. My
Lin Manuel
favorite
Miranda
actor
has been in
been-
Star Wars.
That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna do with the Last Jedi or the Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of
The one they're
It's gonna-
they're gonna make it a music.
No, new theory. They're
Oh
gonna
yes.
they're gonna dimension hop, and the Avengers are gonna come in.
Oh. Oh yes.
No, that's stupid, bro. Everybody
No,
knows that Rick
no.
and Morty are gonna come into this.
Oh my!
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh!
No.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Oh, season
God.
4, 2019.
No,
Dude,
what's
I'm
gonna
pumped.
happen at what's gonna
No,
happen at the
yeah,
end of
that-
what's
Yeah.
gonna happen at the end of the Rise of Skywalker is they're all celebrating defeating whatever the bad guys are called. I forget the
The
Not the
First
Resistance.
Yeah,
Order,
nobody cares.
the
First
Empire,
order.
First Order.
the
The
Empire.
First Order, and then
The
they're gonna
Nazis.
start. They're gonna start
Trump
to
America.
turn into dust.
They're gonna start. They're gonna start fading away. They're gonna be Thanos snapped.
They're gonna
Oh
start.
my god.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Ray snapped out of existence, just like my
Okay,
character,
this is
her
what's gonna-
character.
This is what's gonna happen actually.
Yeah.
They're gonna pan out like the war's over. Everyone's like, yeah, great. They're gonna pan out, and you're gonna see a bunch of people get up from a table like, man, that was a great game, and they step outside. there's like the Statue of Liberty or whatever, and it's like
They're gonna Lego
oh,
movie
by
it.
the way,
Lego.
all Star Wars was just an RPG by some kids.
Oh my.
They're gonna
God.
Lego movie it. They're gonna Lego movie it.
Yeah, or it's like Game of Thrones season 8. It's like they gotta hurry up and they gotta be like, all right, the DM's moving away. We gotta hurry up and then finish this campaign real quick.
Yep.
That'd be beautiful. Honestly, I'd rather like that than whatever they're gonna do. maybe they'll do like Halo, where it gets worse and worse,
Oh.
and then they keep giving us good trailers for the newest game. Maybe the new movie will be.
Yeah, they're fantastic trailers.
I know.
I will say
dude.
that the trailer for the Rise of Skywalker looks pretty.
Yeah, the 2 seconds we've
Palpatine
seen
laugh.
of it.
I would be lying. I would be lying if I said I wouldn't. I'm not a little hyped.
Yeah.
I do like that he's bringing in the prequels.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
We were all
Wait,
hyped
what
for-
trailer?
Yeah.
Not the prequels,
The-
the sequel, the OT.
Well, yeah. Well, no,
What trailer?
He's bringing
The-
he's
the
bringing
2
in
second,
the OT in
yeah.
Star Wars.
Palpatine does his
Well,
little
I mean,
laugh
like
in,
almost
like-
everyone else is dead
Yeah,
except Palpatine.
No.
That's true. He's the only one they could bring back, maybe.
Everybody knows the best trailer that dropped this
well,
year
they're
was
gonna bring-
Sonic.
Sonic.
Oh, Sonic comes speeding
Sonic is the
along.
best
Yeah,
trailer.
you see
There-
Ray running along
You know,
the field.
Sonic saves the day.
Yeah, Ray's running across the field, the little sand area, and then Sonic zooms by, and she's like, "What? What just happened?" And then there's Sonic, and he's like, "You're not fast enough."
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
You're too slow.
You're,
Oh
too,
my God.
you're not fast enough.
Well, the joke was that they're gonna try to make a Super Smash Brothers movie because of the Pikachu movie and the Sonic movie.
All right,
Oh.
well,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
as long as Pac-Man's
I'm-
number one, like the main character.
What
I'm
are they?
good.
I'm down.
Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon better be in it.
Honestly, I'm down in whatever capacity that comes out in.
Well, I mean, it might have to be like Super Smash Bros, where they're all toys, and then 'cause that's how Smash
But-
Bros started off
I'm
as.
down.
Yeah, that's the actual premise. That's the
Yeah,
actual
but
premise.
they're
of that
toys, and then they
video
get
game
scanned into the game.
Yeah.
They are
Yep.
making a Super Mario Brothers movie, Universal, like their animation department,
Oh.
Illumination.
No.
Hey
Yeah, they're
Mario,
Yeah,
we
Wait,
gotta
seriously?
go- we gotta go.
I'm dead
Donkey
serious.
Punch. Mm.
The same. I mean, it's kind of sucks because it's the same company that made all Despicable Me movies, but like,
Ooh, Illuminate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, but
Illumination.
Illumination has done some good things. All right, let's
They did one
Their
good
part.
thing.
no. They've
Yeah.
done the Grinch.
Oh
oh yeah,
Secret Life of Pets was good.
no, it was.
Secret
it
Life of
sucked.
Pets was just Toy Story with animals.
Yeah, it was way worse,
Hey.
my dude.
Leave it alone.
Hey, we out here in this New York town with 2 dogs running across. Gotta get us a dog. I hated that. I hated it. And then they had Kevin Hart or
Dude.
whatever as the bunny.
What if it? No, check this out. What if Illumination did Star Wars?
Oh,
Oh God,
KMS,
God.
my dude. I'm checking
It'll
out a
be-
life
it'll
at
be for-
25.
just be all Fortnite jokes and
Oh my gosh, yes. Ray would be flossing on
out
top
of
of a
place
TIE
memes.
fighter.
yeah,
Dude.
basically.
Yeah, ready for this Fortnite movie though?
I'm gonna. They're
They're
making
not making-
a fork knife movie.
No, they're not. But imagine if they did.
I would.
Well, they made an
probably-
Angry Birds movie.
That's true, and they made a
Mm,
They made an Angry Birds movie like 7 years after the game was popular. So,
Yeah,
okay. They made
Do I
also-
have to re-
They also made a Slender Man movie.
I was
like,
about to
6
say
years
that.
after it was
Yes,
popular.
Slender.
Yeah.
What about the
keep-
greatest movie ever, the Emoji Movie?
Dude,
Hell yeah,
oh my
brother.
gosh. Then they,
This is great Star Wars lore, guys.
Okay, well, we can
I
bring
was
it back.
about to
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it
good
back.
thing we definitely didn't derail.
Yeah, we can bring it back. Do you? Oh, okay. Maybe only Andy might know about this. Maybe Benny. But do you think that Star Wars: The Force Unleashed is canon?
No,
It's not, but it needs to be.
Well, see, I thought they were gonna do that
I
with
don't
the.
even know if it needs to be, dude. I honestly
true.
don't
Dude,
think.
I
that
thought, well, I thought they were
game
gonna
is amazing.
introduce-
It needs-
Yeah, I thought they were gonna introduce new powers. Like, whenever The
Yeah.
Force Awakens, I thought it was gonna be like it's been dead for a while, and then like all of a sudden Rey can crash 2 planets together. Like, she'd be OP.
No, they decanonized those
They did.
games.
Yeah, they decanonized
well,
everything
they-
with the resurgence, or when Disney bought it, they scrapped everything except for,
The
the-
Clone
the
Wars
the,
series.
the Clone Wars series,
And-
the Rebels series, and then
Yeah.
Well, the Re-
6
Rebels series is Disney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they canonized that Darth Maul was still kicking in that show.
Oh yeah,
Fan armor. Can anybody say fan armor?
yeah.
Huh?
Seriously.
Oh.
Major fan armor.
Mm.
I don't know. I honestly do you guys Do you guys think that was a good move on Disney's side? Like, should they brought him back? Should they kept him dead? Or what do you guys think about that?
Well, they
Well,
have brought him.
they assume that they're gonna like they pulled that stunt in the end of Solo,
Yeah,
assuming
that they
they're
got to
gonna
do
make.
something with him.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't. I
Okay, see, the thing is,
I'm always optimistic.
yeah,
he
well,
was the best
okay,
villain for the prequels.
Well, he was the best looking villain.
Yeah,
he really
yeah.
wasn't a character at all.
Yeah, he was just
Yeah.
kind
You
of
know,
there.
They brought him back because
that's some character arc.
they brought him back because they looked cool,
Yeah.
cool, and then he absolutely, most definitely died.
Yeah,
But everyone was
sure.
like, "Oh, well, we're gonna retcon that because his race doesn't actually, like
they can
doesn't actually
regenerate their
die,"
testicles whenever they
and
get cut
also-
off.
Oh my.
And also,
God.
he survived on his rage and dark side powers alone.
Yeah.
Because the Force can do whatever, man. So like,
Well,
and now he has robot legs, and he's threatening people that he's working with.
yeah,
And his lightsaber is really, really red when everything else in that hologram ever has been blue.
yeah.
Um,
Retcon on the holograms.
And I'm just maybe I mean that guy was like a drug lord, right? Maybe he had like a 4K projector
Yeah.
or something. It's like
Yeah, he was red.
2 colors.
He got the
Well,
Well,
the
my
government can't
thing is,
afford
like-
upgraded. The government can't afford upgraded hologram.
Yeah. Well, he was never a character up until the deep lore came out. In the books and stuff, because it was like back in those
Yep.
days. Because you were like, oh, Darth Maul's just a guy. He has 2 lightsabers, and he just found those red crystals. But back in the day, you had to kill a Jedi, take their crystal, and then corrupt it with the dark side of the Force. So back in those days, he killed 2 Jedi, and took their lightsabers and corrupted them and made his double staff thing. That's when he was a character, was in the books, and then they retconned it and was like, he's just
Well,
alive.
Didn't they also have it to where Obi-Wan Kenobi officially kills him? And,
Yeah, in
Rebels?
Rebels,
Is it-
yeah. Because he
is it
was
in Rebels?
he was 1 degree higher. It was a slope, and he had the high ground.
Over. It's over.
Oh, I have
It's
the high
over.
ground.
Oh my gosh, they need to make an Obi-Wan movie just called High Ground.
They are.
High Ground, a Star Wars
They-
story.
They
No,
better
it's in
make an
production
Obi-Wan
right
movie.
now.
Wait, is that real?
You know,
No, it's not. I don't think that's
I
real.
thought they
I think
canceled
people want it to be real, but I don't.
No, I heard
They
it's
never-
in production.
Well, I'm looking at an Obi-Wan movie right now, and I
don't
Jamie,
know.
pull it up.
Yeah, Jamie.
I need to watch this Joe Rogan guy. Hey, yo, Paulie D. Grab it up, my dude. Wait, what? Kenobi, a Star Wars story. First look concept trailer 2019.
No, I don't think that's legit. I think
Okay.
people would be freaking the hell
well,
out
I,
of it.
Oh,
I know
January-
that after Solo.
No, no, that's not true
Yeah, I
because
know
that
that-
came out January 2nd, 2018. There's no way it's still in. Well, okay.
No,
yeah,
I
this is all
know because
from.
after Solo, quote unquote, bombed, which to Star Wars numbers definitely did.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
they decided to push everything back. Except for the movie that they were already making, which was this Episode 9.
It might be
so-
on Disney Plus though.
The movie I would like to see, like if they're gonna make a Kenobi movie, because they will, they will.
Eventually,
is
yeah.
In his solitary on Tatooine,
Yeah.
what you'd make is if you have to continue it from Solo, like if you have to continue with Darth Maul's crime syndicate or whatever,
Mhm.
what you do is you make it an Obi-Wan detective story.
Detective
you make it
Obi-Wan.
like
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Yeah, you make it like a noir type thing, right?
Bro, I would.
Where
Okay,
maybe
honestly, you laugh, but I would.
He's
I would watch that.
It sounds.
yeah, no.
It sounds pretty sick.
Detective Obi-Wan.
No, it's
I-
like
yeah.
I can imagine it. He goes into Mos Eisley and he's got the hood. He's trying to stay low. Maybe some of the bartenders are like, oh yeah, that guy. He's the Outlander or whatever. And they call him whatever because he just
Auslander.
doesn't mingle with anybody.
Yeah.
And maybe he sees something that like maybe he finds another Jedi or something. And it
Mhm.
would be even better if that Jedi was played by Jude Law and ended up being
Ooh.
like the villain of the movie.
Oh, dude.
Ewan McGregor versus Jude Law would be awesome.
Oh my gosh. Because
Wait.
But
yeah.
You forget Jude Law was already a villain in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but that's not
Oh,
Star Wars.
God.
But there's no crossover. Hopefully, I hope there's no
I'm
crossover.
joking, I'm
I would.
joking.
Wait, so
camp.
who did Jude Law play in Star Wars?
He was not in Star Wars. He was in Captain Marvel.
So why did you bring Jude
Yeah,
Law into this?
Because
No, he's
because there's
not.
no crossover. You could definitely have him in
Oh.
Yeah,
both Star
you
Wars
could.
and
You could absolutely have him make a Star Wars thing.
yeah. I think
I think it'd be really cool to see Jude Law versus Ewan McGregor as like a, you know. So
Why
it could
Jude
be-
Law though? Out of all people.
well, because in the
Because
he's a cool
prequels
dude.
and the new movies, only the British people get good parts. So I mean, they're the only ones who get the
Exactly.
good lines.
And I don't know. I like Jude Law. I think he has a lot of that charisma,
He's got a lot
and
to
so
offer.
does Ewan McGregor. So having them play off each other,
Yeah.
I think would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Although
But the story is
I-
like, you know, he's trying not to get involved, and something happens where he's like, oh, I have to get involved, and then he starts. Because one of the best things I think of Star Wars Episode 2, or at least something that I really liked,
Yeah.
was the parts where we were with Obi-Wan and he was trying to track down the bounty hunter. He's trying to
Yeah.
track down,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
well, where's
weird.
this planet? It's been erased from the archives. It's been, you know, where's this dart come from? You know, that kind of stuff. That was really
And then
kinda
he goes-
cool.
he goes to the
Camino.
planet with Camino. He goes to Camino, and then he's like, they're like, "Oh, you're so and so," and he's
like,
yes,
no, I'm not.
I am
But yeah,
who's-
continue. Yes, I am who you said.
yeah.
Yes, very.
Do you guys know what
good.
Camino means in Spanish?
I
It
don't
means
know.
walk, doesn't it?
It means way.
Way?
Way.
Yeah.
Well, in Japanese,
Way.
it means no. I'm just kidding. It means nothing.
Oh.
I hope. Let me
Freaking
look it
weeaboo.
up.
Japanese?
Let's Google
Oh,
Translate this.
Doesn't.
Well,
It's
I'm
that
about to
thing
be
that, like,
minoring.
they wear. It's like that robe they wear, right? The Camino, right?
Oh my god. I'm about to be minoring in Japanese, so eventually I'll be able to school all you losers.
Freaking weeaboo.
Well,
I'll be able to watch anime without the dubs or the subs.
You're not a
Just
real
wait till
anime.
Mexican anime takes over, then you're really screwed.
well,
Nah.
okay.
I got a Mexican girlfriend. She can be my translator.
Camino.
Translate for me, daddy.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Camino.
Translates in chancla.
Chancla?
The shoe.
Oh,
Wait, no, that means you can officially watch Coco, bro, and not feel racist.
Oh my
What?
god.
oh my gosh. We can save that for another day.
Except everybody in Coco speaks English.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
true.
then
No,
says a few phrases in Spanish, which indicate
sings two
that
times in
they
Spanish.
know that they're speaking in English, and they're still speaking it anyway.
Dude, what if in the sequel to Coco they ran into Anakin?
Well, okay,
And
there
the
can't.
end?
All right, spoilers for Coco. There can't be a Coco
He
2
says,
because Mama
"When?"
Coco, 98 years old, she had 2 more days.
It's true.
That's
Two more
mean.
What?
days.
Did you watch Coco, my dude?
True.
Dude, I've seen it like 5 times.
Yeah,
Part of my
Mama
it's my
Coco.
black. It's my people's Black Panther.
Oh, stop! Oh my, you had
Actually, no. I take that back. My people's Black Panther is the Dora the Explorer movie that's
Oh
coming out.
my gosh!
Oh my god.
See, Coco was named after
does
Mama Coco. Mama
have,
Coco is the
like,
grandma who's 98 years old, and she's the one I remember. What's his Hector?
Hector.
It's Hector. You should
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
bro.
Okay,
Who's the-
just to link this to Star Wars, can we just say that Hector's a Jedi just to cover our bases? And De La Cruz is a Sith.
Oh
And
my
De La
gosh.
Cruz is clearly a Sith.
De La Cruz.
Well,
Okay,
no, like-
so
Yeah, we can because
Yeah,
that kid
there
in
we- hey,
The
bring it-
Last
we're bringing it
Jedi
back.
uses the Force, so anyone can be a Jedi.
oh my gosh.
Everyone can be a Jedi.
You're a Jedi.
You know,
You're a
it's a-
Jedi. You're a
It's a
Jedi.
fictional. It's a fantasy movie, so
Dude,
technically
yes, it's
anything.
fantasy and fantasy. Oh my gosh,
But
my
it's Star Wars! No, it can't! There are rules, man! Remember when Han said the Force doesn't work that way?
Oh my
You remember
gosh.
that? You remember
No.
that?
Good thing. Han definitely knows how the Force works. Good
I
thing he's
know,
the
my
Force.
dude.
Good thing Ryan Johnson definitely knows how the Force works.
Oh my gosh, that kid grabbing the broom at the end. I was like, that's a waste of your powers, youngling. To move it 2 feet.
Good thing that Master Yoda can call down lightning. He can lightning bend
Here.
Oh my gosh. As a ghost!
as a ghost.
Oh my
Yeah.
As a
gosh.
ghost.
So stupid.
What do you think about that? What do you think with the whole? I feel like they've
Well-
taken the whole Force Ghost way out of proportion. like the
but
whole
thing is,
idea.
the thing is, they're
Well, with-
part of
with
the
that-
Force. They're part of the Force when they die. So I mean, obviously, if you can die and be in the Force, you can obviously use the Force when you're dead because you are the Force at that point. So if
So
you
why don't we
are-
just have a bunch of ghost Jedi running around? Like, why is that not a thing? Apparently,
Yeah.
well,
like
maybe they
I feel
fell
like
out
only
of the
powerful
Force, I
enough
don't know.
Jedi's. I guess only powerful.
Yeah,
enough
no,
Jedi
for
can,
real. I never thought about that. I
maybe
guess I've
they-
never thought about that. Like,
Yeah, where the heck is Mace
There'd be
Windu,
hel-
my dude?
There'd be a ghost. There'd be a dead Jedi thing somewhere. You know.
Yeah, there's a bunch of younglings walking around looking for Master
Oh.
Anakin.
No.
oof,
No.
oof.
They find his
No.
helmet and they're like, "Yeah, that bastard got it. Yeah."
No, but
No,
what
just
Noah
go
says
like-
is real though. Like,
Have you
if
hmm
if Force Ghosts can like call lightning storms and manifest themselves tangibly, why don't a bunch of them link up and take
Yeah. Why don't they?
Set
Why don't
things
they
right.
collapse?
yeah, why don't they collab and drop a new album?
Yeah, why do they Lincoln build, dude? Lincoln build, fam. Lincoln build.
Yeah, dude. Let's lab, dog.
Dude, for sure. I don't know why.
How do you like,
Maybe
how do you
let's.
like how Darth Vader spends all of his life being
Moody?
evil and just
Emo.
the worst person ever, and at the last 5 minutes of life, he's like, you know what? You're right.
Fuck
and
it.
then he's a ghost, and he's like, he gets to heaven.
That's a great. That is a good point.
I'm gonna
Yeah. How
look
did he
up.
become
And all, the,
like
all, these,
all of a sudden a good?
Ooh, Force Ghost
He was
lore. That's what I'm looking up right
redeemed.
now.
Force
if you
Ghost
want to
lore.
talk,
Oh,
If you
apparently
want-
Star
yeah,
Wars
if you wanna talk-
Rebels explains it. Apparently,
Wait, really?
oh really?
it's like I care.
Because he was
No.
never really evil. He just happened to go murder a bunch of people while he was a Padawan on Tatooine. He
Oh
just
my gosh,
destroyed
okay,
the
so I'm
entire
on-
Village.
I'm on the Star
Yeah,
Wars
not
fandom
just the men,
wiki.
but the
So
women
apparently, the
and the
alignment
children.
of Force Ghosts is light side of the Force. So unless you have to be a good
Yeah.
person in order.
No, it's true. Yeah, that's a canon thing.
But
I know that like basically, I know what the Sith have some sort of carryover. It's more of a residual type thing.
mhm.
There's not like full on apparitions of like Yoda who can do things and talk to people and give call response type. Have conversations with people. It's just like I'm evil and I'm here to scare you type. Those kind of ghosts. I know the Sith, at least in some of the books that I read when I was growing up, when they went to, there was that one episode where Anakin and Obi-Wan and a bunch of other people went to Korriban, which is the Sith homeworld, and it's like the Valley of the Dark Lords or something like that, and they're seeing spirits all over the place of Sith, and they never did like anything like, I mean, they're there to torment you, and they still do, but they can't do things like Yoda could, or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Well, apparently, I'm reading it here. Apparently, death is different for like Jedi. Like they can, it's not like they can choose,
Yeah.
but sometimes they could return as a voice or a dream, or an apparition at will. So maybe they just choose not to show up, and they can only show up when someone really needs their guidance. Apparently, well, it says so they could show up to
Yeah.
for those who need them. Their bodies vanish. This was not the case for Qui-Gon Jinn.
I
Apparently,
guess I'm thinking they're using like the whole concept is they're showing up as like embodiments of the will of the Force.
yeah.
So they can't just so the Force doesn't want the Force doesn't want to do the Force doesn't like doing things by itself. It likes to be used as a tool for other people to do things.
Oh, dude,
Mm.
It
it
doesn't
sounds like
just do stuff. So it's like I think their whole concept is we'll show up and talk to Luke when he needs guidance.
Yeah.
And get him on the right path toward what the will of the Force is, but we can't go face the Emperor ourselves because that's not the will of the Force.
I
Well,
better.
Good thing he needed guidance. He needed guidance in the Ewok camp when they were celebrating. He really
Oh
needed
my dude, yes, that
guidance.
makes
Oh yeah.
how to
that's
burn.
so stupid.
No,
I have
I
a
like that
question.
shot though, but
It's good.
but
I
canonically,
have a
it doesn't
question.
quite
So
work.
are the speaking about lore, are the origins of like Sith and Jedi ever explained? Like, how did that dichotomy come to be?
Yeah.
let's-
Yeah. You know it was, dude.
Jamie,
There's-
pull it up. Do we
there's-
have that?
I'm getting it right now.
There is
Polly
so
D,
many
pull it up, baby. Polly,
I
put it up on
know.
screen, baby.
I know that I read a few comics just as kind of just passing through type things where it's like, oh, this is the story of the Jedi and the Sith 10,000 years before the events of the Star Wars movies, and it was like this is a different version of Star Wars where they had to, instead of using crystals to power their lightsabers, they actually had like power packs on their belts, and they had a cord to it, so they could only go so far and stuff like that. So it's like I don't know if that's definitely not canon anymore because of Disney, but
Yeah, well,
that was like one thing that they were doing.
So, Nick, do you pull it up?
Well, I've got the Sith on this bad boy because apparently people really do care about it. So, like, let's check up this. We got
they do.
canon of the Sith, my dude. Okay, on the Wikipedia,
Ooh,
StarWarsFandom.com. Let's see.
I'm glad we're so knowledgeable that we're just using resources that anyone else can use to.
Isn't the point of a podcast?
Well,
Isn't the
here's
point
the
of a
thing, though.
podcast?
Well,
Our
I can.
level of expertise is the same level of expertise as any other Joe Schmo can have.
Well,
I
that's
love it.
okay. Well, I'll pull up the official then because we have actually StarWars.com. StarWars.com has a data bank on the Sith. So let's pull
We're the only
let me pull
ones-
that up from the
so we're
from the
the only
top
ones that can use
tier.
it.
From the
Yeah.
top.
We're the only ones that
Primary
can use it.
sources, my dude.
Us four guys are the only people that can use it.
Yeah. No one
They
else
can
can
be
use
expert.
StarWars.com.
No.
No one else can
Ever.
use https://www.starwars.com/databank/Sith. Okay, if you use that, I'll find you and I'll dox you, and I'll come in there and I'll.
We
punch
will
your eyes-
demonetize you.
We
We will
dem-
Steve Crowder you.
We we will charge you
Oh.
for defamation. We'll take you to court, my dude.
We will YouTube you.
All right, let's see. We got okay. Here's a thing, a little overview. We have the Sith, an ancient order of Force wielders devoted to the dark side of devoted to the dark side. The Sith practice hate, deception, and greed. Notable for their red-bladed lightsabers, black dress,
Lip sabers.
Yep.
Nice.
and use
Nice.
of their aggressive feelings. The Sith look to amass power at all costs. The
Sounds like an emo buddy of mine.
The evil Darth Sidious, along with his apprentice Darth Vader, achieved the Sith goal of galactic conquest after a millennia of plotting.
Wait, ain't that the name of the Battlefront campaign, Galactic Conquest?
Yeah. Oh, we got
So,
history.
are you telling me that Darth Vader and and Palpatine played the Battlefront games? Is that?
Oh my gosh. They played Star
That's
Wars
how they.
Battlefront.
That's how they won. That's how they got the. That's how they.
Yeah, that's how they fought.
Yeah, they played all the side
Took the
stories
galaxy.
too. Republic Commando canon.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
it did.
definitely, obviously.
Dang. Okay. Well.
Anyway,
That's pretty good, actually. The Star Wars databank, StarWars.com/databank.
so what else does it say?
Nobody can use it. If you're listening to this, you can't use that.
we
Don't
have
even think about it.
we have appearances, locations, and then there's a Sith probe droid, weapons,
Oh,
vehicles. What? Sith speeder.
Sith.
Hell
And
yeah,
then there's
brother.
Oh, a
tool.
Sith speeder.
Then we got history.
Yeah, because Jedi
Cool.
use Teslas.
they hacked into the
Yeah,
Tesla.
yeah.
They hacked into the
They're Jedi.
mainframe.
They'll break their.
Jailbreak
So
the
what is
Tesla
There's
with
a
the Force.
lot
Dude,
of
like, what-
history, my guy. Honestly, on the Sith.
What makes a Sith speeder a Sith speeder? Like,
Let's
why is
click on
it
it.
different than a Jedi speeder?
It's like a Batman. It's like a Batmobile. It's
All
because
right, let me pull it up here.
Okay.
Oh, it's that stupid thing that Darth Maul drove on, that little moon-shaped thing in Episode 1.
That's a Sith speeder? That's
Yeah.
just a speeder. That's just,
No, but if a Sith drives it, it becomes a
Oh,
Sith speed.
right.
Oh, that's right.
All right, so
So that-
everything
so that-
like
I
everything
got
like
it. So then it gets imbued with dark side energy, and then it becomes its own Sith, and it's gonna get a spin-off. Sith speeder Star Wars story.
there we go.
so all those vehicles where it said Sith infiltrator, Sith speeder, and Sith probe droid, they're
Yeah.
all Darth Maul's equipment. So everything in the database related to the Sith, everything is Darth Maul.
So
Such a
literally-
non-essential
literally
character
they-
out here with all this special
went-
equipment.
They literally just went to either a manufacturer or like I can imagine them going to like like a Watto's type junk shop, Sidious and Maul, and they're just like, we'll take that one. It's like, okay, that's gonna cost 30 times. Kills him, and he's like, we'll take this one. It's dark and looming and has a big nose, and I like ships like that.
It is no longer
Wait a
a
minute,
crescent speeder, it is a Sith speeder.
Yes.
It's like
Isn't that just like a normal speeder? Shut up!
Shut your mouth, young one.
It's a Sith speeder.
Oh
know
my
how, like,
gosh.
Palpatine Darth or Anakin. It's like now rise, and he
Now
just
rise, Sith
rise
speeder.
Sith speed.
Yeah, the lights turn from blue to red in that moment.
There we go.
Oh my! It says
Now it's a
affiliation
Sith
Sith.
lightsaber.
So apparently, no Jedi can use Darth Maul's crescent-shaped motorcycle. Apparently,
So
Monocycle.
basically,
Oh,
the
it's-
Sith are just car guys who like to mod their car.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Yes, they're rice
They
burners.
put
They're
DNA
Honda
scanners.
Civics.
That's what it is.
He's just driving around like
the
a
ricer. No, that's not souped up. That's riced up.
Right.
Rice up my speeder, bruh.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
Dude,
oh
they
the
gotta-
weapons
they got-
under
They got a
weapons.
show
Mhm.
on like in like
Look at
Star
these
Wars
rims,
TV.
Bro. Look at these rims on this probe droid, bro.
Oh my gosh! Some Jedi goes
Dude,
into a
just-
Sith probe, but he's like, "I want to use you." He's like, "Nope, my affiliation is the dark side of the Force."
so it says. So you said Jedi can't use a Sith speeder.
Well,
But can
it says
normal people
affiliation
use
is
a Sith
Sith.
speeder?
It says affiliation Sith, so I guess no one besides a Sith can use the Sith speeder.
Okay.
A random
So
dude
kind
just-
of like,
It's freaking canon on
Okay.
the Star Wars databank.
I guess it's kind of like, you know how like if the president, you know the presidential limousine.
Yeah.
So like if a Democratic president rides the presidential limousine, the limousine votes Democrat. But if a Republican president rides it, the limousine votes Republican. You know what I'm saying?
No, each one has a different
Gets its
limousine.
own vote.
It's a different limousine,
Oh
my
yeah,
dude.
no, they have to build one for each party, right?
Yeah, specifically for.
So if we get an independent or a third party president,
Yeah, it's gonna be green.
like a moped.
Oh, a moped, my
moped.
dude. Yes.
A moped?
The
No,
presidential
it's a seg-
moped is like
No,
6 seats on it.
It's a moped with a sidecar, and he sits in the sidecar.
He's got an open face helmet and a scarf and the goggles.
His mustache is like
whizzing down,
like
whizzing down the street at 5 miles an hour.
20 miles an hour, my guy.
Gotta dodge those bullets.
Oh my gosh. He's got a bulletproof helmet on. He's got a spine protector, probably.
He's good. He's good.
What?
Dude, so okay, I'll say this also. So are Grey Jedi canon, or are they more fan speculated?
Let's check it out. Oh, well, Mace Windu's a great Jedi, right?
Jamie, pull that up. Yeah.
Is
What-
he though?
explain what a great Jedi is for the
A
new,
great Jedi. Yeah, go ahead, explain it.
Chaotic good. Chaotic neutral.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, official
Could I-
Lucasfilm response. Let's see.
I never got an answer.
This is from.
Yeah,
well-
I'm waiting on one.
oh, hold on.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't quite know what. Is it just like an old Jedi?
Well,
No, it's like
I'm just kidding.
it's,
people argue that Qui-Gon Jinn is a great Jedi, but I don't know.
it's someone who they're like chaotic neutral. They're like good.
Wow.
Their like loyalties don't completely lie with the Jedi.
Yeah, well,
Order.
they'll break the Jedi Order if they have to.
Kind of like an independent.
Well,
Let's
Then,
look it up.
like-
I'm looking it up
Yeah.
right now. Let's see. We got Grey Jedi on the Wikipedia. No one else
Oh,
can
yeah,
use the
brother.
Star Wars fandom. If you do, we'll dox you.
no.
Oh, dude, we
The term,
demonetized
okay,
you.
so the term Grey
Right.
Jedi or Grey has two meanings. First, it was used by Jedi and Sith to describe Force users who walk the line between light and dark sides of the Force without surrendering to the dark side. And second, it described Jedi who were distanced themselves from the Jedi High Council and operated outside the structures of the Jedi Code. However, those who were considered to be true Grey Jedi met both qualifications and did not belong to any particular Force tradition. One exception was some people we don't know about.
So there can be
There is
like
some, I
fake
probably know 'em.
Grey and real Grey Jedi.
Hmm.
Mm.
So was
So
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Mm.
Qui-Gon Jinn apparently was
He-
technically. I would
He's
say
one of
Mace
them
Windu is
fake
more of a
ones.
Grey Jedi, honestly,
That's what I've heard,
because
actually.
Well,
Mace
that's
Windu's
what-
willing to kill, and the Jedi don't kill really unless they have to. But Mace Windu goes straight for it, my dude.
Well, yeah, and also
He also
his whole
knew
thing
that,
about,
like-
the
Mhm.
council, like, no, you're not gonna train Anakin. He's like, yeah, screw you, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Mm.
That's the big thing. that like defines him as he doesn't completely put his faith in the council.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's-
Mace
yeah,
Windu
so
trained Anakin?
No, Qui-Gon. That's
no.
what makes.
Oh,
that's what the
Qui-Gon.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said
Like,
Mace Windu.
that's the argument that he is a great Jedi because he's like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So
It's like this boy's.
I am the one that don't
midichlorians-
need a gun.
He's like the midichlorians are too high to disprove.
yeah,
Let's see.
oh, he's got all these loot boxes. Like he's too legendary.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my Battlefront 2, baby.
Halo 2, baby.
Hey,
Let's see.
I also want to point out that did they ever use the whole midichlorian? Did they ever bring that up again in any other movie, or that was like an isolated incident?
No,
That was
no,
isolated, I
they didn't.
think.
And you want to know why they didn't do that?
Why?
Hmm.
Why?
Because the fans hated it. That's why.
Well, I mean, it
That's
kind
I
of.
don't
also
see
why.
it.
And
Yeah,
it's also why in Jar Jar Binks, after the first episode, you don't hardly see anything of him for the rest of the trilogy.
He gets better. He gets
that
better.
was a good choice.
He talked too much
Yeah.
and he talks less, and then all of a sudden in episode 3 he's just walking behind
Yeah.
the casket.
But no, it's that just shows like you can see the difference between 1 and 2, how much the fans influenced Lucas and how the
Yeah.
it
How
turned out.
he listened, unlike
Because-
the Disney fellows over there.
Do you
Well,
think?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think that people? Here's what I think people didn't like midichlorians because I
Oh.
think it attempted to quantify something that's not meant to be quantifiable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I don't see why people. I'm probably going to be here, but I don't really see much wrong with the midichlorians.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, it's kind of a goofy. No, it doesn't bother me that much. It is kind of goofy, but like
Well,
it gives a tangible explanation
the
for
thing-
like why some people are stronger in the Force versus
Yeah, yeah.
others.
Well,
You know.
one of the big arguments against it is the midichlorians are not it's not like they're not bad in and of themselves. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad explanation in and of itself, but it's
Yeah.
used as a way to quantify how good someone is as a Jedi, how strong they are.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of like okay, well that kind
oh.
of gets away from the whole Force thing that you have
to
like,
train
the Force
and stuff.
chooses
Mhm.
train
Yeah.
yeah. Because it means that if I have 10,000 midichlorians and Anakin has 20,000, it doesn't matter how much I train.
He's gonna be
always
better.
going to be a better Jedi.
Oh,
Ironically
He can
speaking,
always
he was
know
one
more
of the big.
Force stuff and yeah.
Yeah.
mm. Oh,
Yeah.
I got.
I
can
guess
see-
the great.
Oh, you good.
I guess the great irony is that Anakin had midichlorians at the wazoo, but he was
Yeah.
still the one that became Darth Vader.
That's true. Well, okay.
Well,
So
yeah, I
Pretty
think
much.
I don't think it's necessarily Jedi. It's just how powerful you are as a
How
Force
amazing,
wielder. I don't
yeah.
know if-
But then does
Yeah.
everyone does everyone and their mom have midichlorians in them? Like does
Probably a
Anakin-
little
Yeah.
bit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
I think
well,
so.
that's true because if the Force
Just-
is in everything, then obviously, I guess since midichlorians
You'd
are
have some.
part of the Force, I guess someone.
See,
It's-
these kind of questions are why the midichlorians are a bad idea. 'Cause then
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
We just proved it.
Yeah, you make some good points.
Mm.
I still
Well,
don't.
no-
I still don't think it's
It's not.
like,
ba-
it-
it's not
Also,
I don't think it is
it's,
either.
it's not. But
no.
another thing is, so if Anakin was the chosen one,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
quote unquote, he's the that's what they call him. Where did this prophecy even come from?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Was it just
That's
like
a good question.
really old?
Like who?
It's just some prophecy, yeah. In episode 1, they're like, he fulfills the prophecy, the vague, undefined
The
prophecy that's
prophecy.
never read at any time in any Star
Yeah,
Wars
no, they-
quoted, or it's a paraphrase, but you never have Anakin be like, what is this prophecy that everyone keeps
Yo,
talking
Nick.
about? And
What's
everyone's
this
like,
thing
okay, let me
prophecy?
show you.
Yeah.
Yo, Jamie, pull it up about
Well-
the prophecy.
Well, right now I have pulled up the Gray Jedi. It's pretty much confirmed that they're not canon because they only show up
Yeah.
in the extended lore that was cut. So
See if
Right,
you
we got
can see if you can pull up
Yeah.
anything. See if you can pull up anything about the prophecy in
All
episode
right.
1, like the origins of that.
Star
Yeah, pull that up.
Wars,
they go to find
the
out what the prophecy is, and it turns
bro,
out
I
it's just
typed
a
in.
room from
Yeah, I typed
from
in
Harry
the
Potter.
and then prophecy.
Yeah, I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking about, Noah.
But
They
Yeah,
went to
the-
the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, the one with
but
all.
like that one's
all the
talked about
vote.
a lot in Harry Potter. Like it's from Dave
No, yeah.
from movie 1.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, he's chosen because X Y Z.
Okay, but But the
No,
difference
they don't
between-
actually mention it until a while later.
Oh, they
Because the
don't?
prophecy
Right, well,
was-
Oh, episode
Mm,
episode 3 or something.
yeah,
Or
they
movie
mention
three,
it a
sorry.
while later.
Even
but
more?
it's kind of the thing is it's kind of
I only watched the movie, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
well
I
they
forget.
don't
Hey, in the movie.
Harry Potter's prophecy, about him, having to essentially fight Voldemort. It's in
It's
a way
laid- it's-
implied.
It's laid
It's implied in books.
Yeah,
It's laid out,
because they're like,
but it's
oh,
not
yeah,
until book 5. It's not until
Oh.
book 5 where they,
best movie.
explain to you. But the thing about the Star Wars prophecy is it's never laid out. It's never followed up on. It's never nodded to. Unlike in Harry Potter, that they're constantly coming back to it, and they
Yeah.
finally explain it.
Mm,
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't laid out. It was never like we don't even know what the prophecy says. All we know is that
oh my gosh. this
Anakin
is
was meant to
stupid.
destroy the Sith.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm looking up
Uh-oh.
this
He was meant to
prophecy
destroy
right
the
now.
Sith. No,
It's so
All right,
stupid.
let's see what we got.
All right, it's a long
Let's hear it.
paragraph. Are you ready for this?
go ahead.
Lay it on me.
Go.
As foretold,
Read it in your
a
most sultry voice.
As foretold in a Jedi prophecy made by an ancient Jedi mystic and recorded via holocron, the Chosen One would bring about the destruction of the Sith and the restoration of the balance in the Force. So basically, they're like, hey, some old stinky guy put
That's
it on
not
a
vague at all.
holocron.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
whole
origin.
prophecy.
That's it. Well,
It's like one sentence.
Wow.
well,
The
and
chosen
then it's
one-
like,
one could be-
however,
So okay, so all right. So that the prophecy is okay. So this adds. Here's another question I just thought of. The
Mhm.
prophecy is, the chosen one's going to come and destroy the Sith, right? Okay,
Yeah.
great, whatever, that's fine.
Mhm.
But in episode 1, when he says, when they're interviewing Qui-Gon, and he's like, and he shows them the recording of them fighting Maul for the first time, and they're like, what is that? What is that? And they're like, hey, I think it's a Sith Lord. And then Ki-Adi-Mundi's like, wait a minute, but they've been extinct for a millennium.
oof.
So does that mean that there was already a chosen one that destroyed, or at least they think there was a chosen one that destroyed the Sith? Because they're like, they don't want to believe it's a Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Checkmate
obviously think
atheist.
that
That's all I gotta
the-
say. Checkmate atheist.
Oh my god.
I mean, no,
That-
like,
yeah.
so they obviously believe that the Sith are extinct, which means that at some point that the Force was restored and that the balance is over, whatever. So they think the prophecy is fulfilled, right?
Mm.
Isn't that? And then it's like,
Well,
oh
I
no,
mean-
the prophecy. It's the prophecy, man. Or is it like a self-repeating prophecy where it's like, there's always going to be Sith, but at some point a Jedi's going to step up and smack them down again? Is
Well,
that the idea? I don't know.
I
That-
guess so, because everything has to be balanced, right? So if you destroy the Sith, something else is going to rise up equivalent to the Sith, because everything has to be
Okay, so-
balanced out.
Right.
So
Here's-
it's
actually,
self-repeating.
This is something here's some actual lore that I looked into after I had that question. I was like, what is this? Because you just mentioned, you came up with the concept that, well, there's always going to be something to rise up and it has to be in balance, right?
Yeah.
That plays on the concept that the Force is like two parts of a teeter-totter. That if you have too much light side, then it's imbalance. If you have too much dark side, it's imbalance. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's not
makes sense.
how Lucas originally wrote it.
It's
What Lucas
yeah.
wrote, and he revealed this in an interview after they questioned him about it, was what the Sith do, like, and this is something that is alluded to in episode 3 when he says abilities that seem unnatural.
Hmm.
What the Sith do is they corrupt and warp the Force in a way that's not natural, and basically damages, not like damages the Force, but it's used in a way it's not supposed to be used.
yeah.
And so until you get rid of the things that are using the Force the wrong way and are warping and messing with it, corrupting it, there is the Force can't be balanced. That's the concept he wrote that whole thing with. Whether or not that's something that they're going to play out in the future, I don't think that's something that they're going to play out in the future.
So,
Yeah.
so how do you
That was
balance the
what he meant.
Force?
Get rid of the Sith. It's simple. You have
Get
to make
Thanos.
sure,
Oh, yep.
yes.
Thanos.
That's
snap.
interesting.
Don't think
by
because-
that's why they're so adamant in the original trilogy that the Emperor and Vader must die, that they must be destroyed, that Luke has to stop them, because they're they're warping and distorting the Force for their own personal gain, which is not how the Force is supposed to be used. And
Mm.
until
So there is-
until that knot or that wound can be healed, then the force can't be imbalanced. That's the idea
So,
anyway.
so what you're saying is that there is a way to perfectly balance the force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
See,
And that's
because I always thought about the force kind of like a wheel, like it's constantly cycling, and it can never truly ever be
Fine.
balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, what you're saying, I guess, makes sense that, like, in order for all things to be balanced, then altruistic good must win at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like. Go ahead.
That was
I'm
what
sorry.
That was Lucas's original vision. And that was
Mhm.
something
Right.
that he revealed in an interview. Now, what that means now that being said, you can see that being played out in the OT and in the prequels, but that's not going to have. I don't think that's going to have any bearing on anything going forward because it's been given to other people and they've decanonized everything, and
Yeah.
they have their own visions of what's going to happen. So
I think.
No, I doubt.
I think that what Lucas. I think that what true. I mean, but I think yes. Like in an all perfect world, if you got rid of the Sith, there would be balance. But I think that's almost impossible. Like
Yeah, I think something else would
even
come
if
up.
that's true. There's too many. Yeah, there's too many people out there, and like you even have things like, and this is what the Clone Wars goes into. Things like the Night Sisters, who do kind of meddle with the dark side and do stuff like that. Like, so do you have
Yeah.
to get rid of them too? Like, or
Yeah, that's
just
what I'm
the Sith?
saying. Here's what
the
I think,
lines get
and
blurred.
here's what I think, and I think this is coming from like my own personal philosophy. That let's say that you could actually get rid of all the Sith. Let's say you could get rid of the Sith, the Dark Sisters. Say you get rid of all those bad people. I think that even if you could get rid of all those people, the human heart or the alien heart, there's bound to be somebody's gonna come
Yeah.
up and take, and there's gonna be a vacuum.
And
You
do
would
it.
be creating a vacuum.
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying. I
No,
think it's.
mean,
I
like,
think it.
the thing is no, like he's thinking of it more as that the Sith are parasites on the Force rather than like there is a balance thing. So if you take the
Right.
parasites off, there's no vacuum there because they weren't supposed to
Yeah.
be there in the first place.
That makes
That's
sense.
the idea they're coming from.
Yeah.
But can you ever get to a point where there are no parasites, or can
so
you ever
it's-
get to a point where you
it's more
prevent
like-
parasites from appearing?
Well,
sanitizer,
Lucas
hand
certainly
sanitizer.
thought so.
No.
Yeah, Lucas
But the-
certainly
not
thought
the
so
zero.
with the.
That's right.
Sorry.
Lucas certainly thought so with the prequels and the original trilogy, and how like the Sith were destroyed in the end of the trilogy,
OT.
right? That was
Right.
that whole thing that they were building on. But when you introduce things like the Clone Wars, which had to have more stories and more things go on, then you start introducing extended stuff, which is very on the line as to, and it doesn't really fit with the original vision. So that's where you get all these questions coming from, because
Right.
once
Yeah.
again,
Mm-hmm.
and this goes down to one of the things that is the biggest thing about Star Wars is the first three movies pretty consistent as far as like the universe, but as
Yeah.
soon as
It fits.
new
yeah.
stuff starts coming out, inconsistencies all over the place.
Yeah. Because there's always this dichotomy of like, oh, you have the Sith and you have the Jedi, but in the EU, you actually come to find out there's more than
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
other force-sensitive creatures out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leia was
There's a
eventually
billion different things.
Leia was
Oh, yeah.
eventually a Jedi at some point in the EU.
Who was?
Leia, she had a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She did do that.
So,
But I think
Huh.
her thing was, if I remember correctly, her thing wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be Force Jedi and use the Force as combat, kind of like Luke
Yeah.
did, but more as in, I'm going to use the Force as like sensing, and she had more a deeper mental understanding of it and that kind of thing.
I say EU, but then Episode 8 comes out and she force flies herself
Oh
to that
God.
door.
No, gosh.
God.
Why you
damn
have to
it.
bring that up? Why do you have to bring that up?
Because it's what happens.
Speaking of
It happens.
the trilogy,
Oh gosh.
like
Okay.
like if we Lucas's original vision out of the question, like I know we're totally going back to a previous conversation, but I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
You were talking about how the prophecy
Mhm.
implies that the whoever the chosen one is going to destroy the Sith. So like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's true. Once they were destroyed. It's like, oh, they've been gone millennia. Like, but obviously they were still some people still stuck around,
Yeah,
like
remnants.
Sidious and Plagueis and Darth Maul. So like,
Yeah.
so they're not completely destroyed, but
Yeah.
not to like to bring in the sequel trilogy into this. I know in episode 7, Maz Kanata says like, oh, the dark side has had many faces, the Empire and now the First
Yeah.
Order. So like, I think if in the new movie they're probably gonna have something. I hate to say it, but maybe they're gonna reveal that like Rey is the chosen one. Like, I don't know.
She's the new chosen one.
Chosen
Yeah,
One
I mean,
2.0.
What I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's
chosen
kind of
one
what I was
from
wondering
the sequel.
in the Force Awakens. That's kind of like the thing I was thinking. I was like, maybe that's what they're going to go to, because she can automatically do crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only other time we've seen somebody do that. Not even Luke could do kind of those kind of.
No,
But
Luke
Anakin
was
had similar type.
Yeah, Luke had to.
I mean, it wasn't
work
that
for it.
extensive, of course. But yeah, Anakin had some, like, he had really fast reflexes, and he could kind of know things without, really knowing them. And so I was like, are they going to build another chosen one thing?
Mhm.
And if that's the case,
I
then
feel like
Kylo Ren.
Luke's whole fight was pointless, because 30 years later, it's just going to happen again.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys
Well-
think?
Yeah.
No.
Do you
go
guys
ahead.
think it's important? Okay. Do you guys think it's important to know? Because I know like a lot of people are super like, oh, is it really important who Rey's parents are?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think she needs to
I
be
don't
her
think
own
so.
person. I think she does not need to be a Skywalker or
No.
No, or a
Kenobi.
Kenobi. Definitely not. Definitely not.
I hate.
I'm totally okay with the. Oh, your parents.
Your parents
just
were
Yeah, I'm
Traitor.
fine with that, too.
nobodies.
Oh,
I like
I'm
that.
perfectly fine with that.
I like that, and I don't care about the Knights of Ren. So them not showing up, I could be happy with. Hey, they died off screen. And then Snoke,
Yeah,
I don't
I
care.
think-
I don't care about Snoke because he was Emperor 2.0 and he didn't do anything.
I cared about Snoke. I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I did care about Snoke.
Maybe in a
Not
will
anymore, but
say-
I did at one point.
Okay.
Not to say
So you
anything
say
like.
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, me.
Not to say
Okay.
anything.
Okay, so I don't want to like spoil anything about Rise of Skywalker, but this is gonna get kind of goofy. But I did see that there were leaked Lego sets. That's a lot of ways to like people
Oh yeah,
find
that's how you. Yeah.
like spoilers. But the Knights of Ren is part of it. Rise of Skywalker
Hmm.
or
Well,
Lego set.
Yeah,
I will say.
It's about time. It's about time. They
Yeah.
mentioned it, and then they need to bring.
Yeah.
If they're gonna do something with it, it better be now, or they should retcon Episode 7 and be like, "It's Knights of Ren. What's that?"
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Sounds pretty.
Dude.
lame.
well, the thing that makes it interesting is you said race parentage doesn't matter at all.
Mm.
Right.
But the thing that's interesting is the title of the next movie is Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
So if
Oh.
race parentage, because that calls that entire thing back into question.
Yeah.
That calls
Yeah, it
all of
does.
that, like, because could she actually be a Skywalker because it's referring to her rise? I don't think that's true. But is it
Mm.
like, well, then is it Luke Skywalker somehow? I know he's going to come back as a Force ghost. That's pretty much been confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, is it him being like doing Yoda things again, like he's calling down lightning on people, or I don't know.
He calls lightning
Honestly,
on Kylo
I
Ren.
think it's a horrible title.
Mm.
It's probably
Yeah.
one of the
Maybe-
worst-
Oh, it's
maybe-
terrible.
worst titles.
It's not that good. I was
I-
not really hyped when I. Cool, I
Well,
guess.
No, I
Well,
was like,
here's the-
Rise
well,
of
here's the thing, though.
Skywalker.
Here's the thing, though. If you notice, there's a subtle
We are-
shift in narrative between Episode 7 and Episode 8.
Of course.
Who's the
mainly
only
'cause of the
character who got development in Episode 8? It was Kylo
Ren.
Ren.
Kylo
And
Ren.
Kylo
And
Yep.
Ren
he is a Skywalker.
He's a descendant of a Skywalker, so maybe
Yeah.
they're gonna flip it on its
They made
head
him.
into where Kylo Ren is he's the one who's rising, and then he maybe takes
Yeah, everyone
his
seems to
grandpa's
like-
name.
I could see that. I could see that.
Everyone seems to forget that
So do you think
Ren is a
okay.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And like that's what I was gonna say too. Is like
maybe it's
He's a
maybe it's a
Skywalker,
Kylo
so-
Ren story, or maybe they both finally get some development at the same time.
So do you think Kylo is going? Okay, so here's the thing. Do you think Kylo's going to be redeemed?
Well,
Do you think?
he redeemed himself for about 2 seconds in episode 8, and then he did the trope of I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's all for me now.
He's
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's true.
Can he be redeemed?
one
is he a,
thing that I
is
really
he-
like-
I think he can.
I have.
Oh, I
He can
think
be. He can be.
he can.
I definitely think Ray's definitely the key to that. 'Cause
Yeah.
he thinks, for some reason, he thinks more highly of her than
Yeah.
of anybody else, which is,
Yeah, that's
But-
true.
But he also
He's impressed
if
by-
the story is if the story is about him being redeemed, who's the big villain then? Like, who
Ooh.
does he turn against? Is it just the First Order? Is it just more troopers?
Well, he already turned against
know?
Snoke, so I mean,
Yeah.
dang, he's gonna.
Well,
That's
maybe
true,
the
but-
Emperor is still. Maybe the Emperor was.
Oh, God.
maybe the
I
Emperor.
hope-
puppeteer.
Maybe he becomes a Force voice in his head, and he has to. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, in episode 7 and 8, would you consider Snoke and is he considered a Sith, like a formal Sith?
No idea.
I don't
No.
think so.
I don't think
No.
he's considered anything.
So where are the Sith?
The Sith?
I think the
I think the Sith.
Sith are gone.
The Sith
Sith
died,
are gone.
the Sith
That
died
was-
out in
Mm.
episode.
Yeah, evil is just like takes the name of the First Order.
Let's
Instead of the Sith.
let's look it
and-
up.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. What happened to?
Pull it up, Jamie.
Also, Ben, you might want to step away from your mic a little
Yeah,
bit.
for
dude.
sure, my dude.
Again, bro. Again,
Yeah.
my guy.
Yeah. What happened to the
Yeah.
Sith?
Maybe I need to stop talking. Maybe I need to stop getting excited.
There you go.
All right. Okay. All right. There we go.
ASMR.
Oh, that's core.
We can do an ASMR.
Oh,
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 dude,
no.
no. I'd hang myself before I do that.
Darth Vader. Okay. Apparently, Darth Vader was technically
Benny
the
hanging
last.
himself ASMR.
Oh,
my
Oh,
God.
dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine me on MSR? Yo, dude, welcome to.
Oh,
Hey, my dude,
Oh.
welcome. Okay, so we got. Was Darth Vader technically the last Sith master? This was on a forum 2 years ago. It was last
Forums.
active 10 months ago. Maybe let's back out of that. I don't
Was
think
it
so.
red?
no, read it. Read it.
No,
Okay,
yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
okay. This is from
10 months ago wasn't
This is
that
from
bad. That
sci-fi.stack
2 years ago was when the last
exchange.com.
when the Last Jedi came out. So
Oh,
Yeah.
dang,
It'd be
that's
in line.
right. All right, let's see. As we all know, Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, was Sith apprentice under Sith Master Darth Sidious Palpatine. They operated in Rule of Two, meaning the Vader would have to kill Palpatine to inherit his title to become new master. Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess.
Okay, can we pause right quick? Can I
Yeah.
say something right quick about the rule of two?
Yeah, okay.
The rule
go
of
for it.
the rule of two, in my opinion, is BS because they get around it. Well, no, listen.
Yeah, yeah.
They get around that. The Sith get around the rule of two using titles.
Mm,
Because in Rebels, no, I'm serious. Because in Rebels, they got this guy named the Inquisitor, and he's for
Yeah.
all intent and purposes a Sith, but they don't call him a Sith because of the rule of two. They call him the Inquisitor. So I just think that's BS. Like the whole rule of two, it's dumb.
mm.
It's kind of dumb to me.
well,
He was.
do you know how the Rule 2 came about?
Yeah, one has to kill the other.
Oh.
No.
Darth Plagueis
You
the
know
Wise.
how it came about?
Darth Plagueis.
No, it wasn't Darth Plagueis. It was way before that.
Back in 10
So-
million before the Civil War. I don't know.
Yeah, 1,000 years. It was the
Cool.
Jedi Sith War, and it was
Oh,
Darth
okay.
Darth Bane. And it was
Oh,
after-
okay.
I
That
can't-
name sounds familiar.
Right, and it was after a huge battle between the Jedi and Sith that like wrecked an entire planet. Like it was a monstrous battle, and I think Darth Bane used a weapon that killed everybody on the planet basically. And
So-
all that was
yeah.
left was him and his local native who just happens to survive, this young girl. And so he took her as his apprentice, and he said the reason that the Sith Order fell was because, one, we were too big of a target. It was easy for the Jedi to come in and attack us. And two, the Sith, there were too many Sith, and they started fighting amongst themselves, which weakened them and made them easy targets.
Yeah.
So for now on, there will only be two, a master and an apprentice, and the struggle for power will be between them.
Yeah, well,
So
technically.
that's the lore behind that.
Yeah, well, technically, apparently, the Sith die out, but the ideals that they have still around. But Snoke most likely isn't because the Rule of Two takes place, And Vader didn't die as a Sith Master; he died as a Jedi because he was redeemed. So he went from Sith apprentice.
So
to
he
Sith.
did bring balance to the Force. He
Yeah.
did it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he fulfilled the prophecy. Son of a
he
did.
fulfilled the prophecy by
dang.
being
Oh,
and
bringing it
Holy
back, my
crap.
food. Dang.
And he's the one who killed Sidious.
Yeah, so he
That's
became
true.
the Sith Master and then died as a Jedi. That's how he becomes a ghost. So the Sith are gone. So some other evil forces out there.
Well, who's preventing somebody from taking up that mantle again?
No one.
Yeah, honestly, what's really like what? So the Sith quote unquote die out. Yeah, the bloodline of Sith die out, and now there's a gap, right? But
Mhm.
anyone who's evil can claim themselves to be the Sith.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention that they tease
Well, yeah.
they tease Sidious in the
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
in the trailer.
Well, he could come back as the Force apparition, but remember, Asajj Ventress called herself a Sith, and Dooku was like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
She was.
But there's no Sith around anymore to like tell
Yeah.
you know.
There's
So
no
if
Sith.
Kylo Ren wanted to put a
But that goes back to
fancy
that
new
goes back to
upgraded
Benny-
mask on. No, go ahead.
That goes up back to Benny's point of the rule of two, like the whole like, yeah, I'm a Sith, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Where it's like they get around that with titles. So technically, I mean, she's not like officially a Sith because she doesn't have a master and she's not an apprentice. She's not recognized by a Sith as a Sith. But yeah, she still does a Sith. She does what a Sith does,
She
and
does the
she's
Sith
basically
stuff.
an apprentice for Dooku.
Yeah,
She actually is.
She just
And he
doesn't have the
uses that
title.
whole-
of Sith.
Yeah, and he uses that title as a way to control her and be like, oh,
Yeah.
well, if you were a good Sith, you do this. And she's like, well, you know.
Yo, where does that leave
yeah,
General
like, Benny's
Grievous
right.
then? Was General Grievous a Sith?
He
He's
was
not.
Nah, he
No,
just
no.
collected
Well,
Jedi's light.
He's just a cool dude.
Yeah, he's just a
No, he was
sick dude.
he was
And he was sick.
he was trained. I don't think he's force sensitive. He was trained
He's
by
not.
Yeah.
Dooku
No.
to combat Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's how he has. And I think that was something that was really cool about like going back, connecting to that one series that you mentioned, Nick,
Yeah.
the Cartoon Network one. Is at the end of that first episode. There are a bunch of Jedi trapped in the ship, and they're surrounded by droids, and
It's such
they
a
have
good
nothing left, and
scene,
they're the
yes.
only ones left. And Grievous comes, and this is before Grievous got all screwed up and had the cough and everything. So
Yeah.
he comes out and
Mhm.
he just completely he takes
Red
on
Shock,
4
yeah.
or 5 Jedi
Mhm.
and just destroys them.
Master Jedi. He took out a Master Jedi.
Yeah. Shock T was there, Ki-Adi-Mundi,
Hmm.
and then I think 3 or 4. I think Ayla Secura was there too.
Yeah, I think so.
And
too.
those 3 were the only ones to survive.
Mhm.
And they're
Yeah,
6
because in
Jedi
the
trapped in that thing.
in the Clone Wars, there's a Clone Wars episode that explains to you how Grievous came to, because they actually go to his house.
Mm.
They go to his palace,
Yeah, I remember that episode.
They do a house tour.
and they
House
Yo,
tour
MTV, welcome to my crib.
Welcome to my crib. Welcome to my crib, MTV.
So yeah, I can't remember who all goes, but they go to his palace, and it explains how it actually shows you what he used to look like,
Mm.
and how he got there's a particular reason why he hates the Jedi. It's because they screwed him over. So I can't remember exactly, but he just got modifications. Like
Yeah.
he used to be a human-looking guy,
Body
and then
mod.
now he's all robotic. Yeah.
Body mod.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
I thought he was such a cool character. I wish they would have
Yeah,
had.
I think so. He played more of a bigger part in the Clone Wars miniseries than he did in than Episode 3.
Dude, he was
Yeah,
sick in
yeah.
the Clone Wars miniseries.
I mean, it
He was
explains how
awesome.
he got all coffee. It was Mace Windu. Mace Windu crushed his chest.
Yep.
Like a
That's what
BA.
that was.
I
All
gotta
right.
watch this now.
Which
This
was
sounds pretty
also
sick.
that was in the cartoon thing. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch for sure. I definitely
Big fan.
recommend it.
Big fan.
Most of it is, especially the first episode, most of it is just a lot of disjointed battles.
Yeah.
So Kit Fisto has a
Not a
battle under in the ocean, and
Mhm.
Oh,
he's
it's
leading a bunch
lit.
of
Kid Fisto.
underwater troopers and
Windu
yeah,
has
and
an
then
episode.
Yeah.
Mace Windu takes on an entire legion of battle droids
Yep.
without his lightsaber.
Red
Oh,
City.
dude,
That
it's
was
so
What?
cool.
good.
That's
was pretty
awesome.
I
cool.
remember that. At
Yeah.
a desert
Some-
planet, right?
Oh yeah, it's a
No, it
big
wasn't.
field. It's a big
it wasn't a
field.
desert planet. It was just like a
It was like
It was
Naboo.
like a
It was like
farming
the fields
planet.
of Naboo, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
a farming planet.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
it was
that
pretty
that
good.
one was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick.
It shows.
And then of course,
You're good.
and then of course they have the one battle between Obi-Wan and Dirge.
Dooku.
Yeah, Dirge. That
No,
freakish.
not
Wait,
Dirge.
who was Dirge?
He was.
Dirge is a
spoilers.
bounty
yes.
hunter,
Yeah,
basically.
he's a bounty hunter.
He's a bounty hunter. Like you can just look
He's
look
the
up.
big-
I can't explain how
The
he
big
looks.
muscly guy.
He's a big.
If you,
Yeah.
it's like if you play Halo, he's like the hunters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
He's like that.
That's
He's
very
like that.
true.
Well,
He's really
another
cool.
thing that I was thinking that I've seen like the internet and something that at this point Disney, I don't know. So what if episode 9? What if they make an episode 10?
They are. They're
Oh,
making
they
the
will.
new trilogy has already been announced for the 2020s.
No
Oh,
way.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the guys who did Game of Thrones season 8 are the ones writing the 2020 series.
Oh yeah, you're
Oh.
right. You're right.
Speaking of writing, here's something else that I learned about who's writing the next Star Wars. This is interesting. So first of all, J.J. Abrams is writing it,
Mhm.
which I have very mixed feelings about because although there are movies of his that I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. I do not believe him to be a very good story writer.
Mm.
He's a good
That's
director
fair.
as far as films go.
Yes, that's
But
fair.
as far as writing goes, I don't think that's definitely not his strong suit, in my opinion.
Mm.
Also, the other guy who's
Okay.
helping him write is the guy who wrote Justice League and Batman versus Superman.
Oh no.
Oof. Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing though.
Oof.
Here's the thing though. You know how they've been releasing Star Wars every single year for the past 5 years? So
Has it really been
yeah.
5 years
Well,
already?
Yeah,
Dang.
well, it was 2015.
2015 was when-
2015 is when Force Awakens came out. 2016 was Rogue One. 2017 was Episode 8. 2018 was Solo. And 2019, this
Wow.
year, is Episode 9.
Yeah.
Well, they're taking a big break.
Man,
There's not
didn't
going to
even
be
notice.
any new Star Wars movie confirmed until 2022. So
That's
they have
nice.
the time, and it's
Good.
It's like Halo. They were releasing all the time, and it was getting worse and worse. So maybe this break is going to be something, just like Assassin's Creed needed a big break. They were getting ridiculous.
Assassin's Creed needed to end.
It needed to end after Assassin's Creed 4.
Dude, that's a different lore episode.
Yeah,
that's
different lore.
complete.
Open up a can of worms, episode 2, everybody. But
Yeah.
yeah, go
So
ahead.
they already confirmed a third trilogy.
Yeah,
I mean, a fourth trilogy.
it's going to start
God.
in 2022.
Why are they
Keep
milking
making
him,
Star
man?
Wars.
Uh,
They're gonna keep
2022.
no. They're gonna keep making Star Wars movies until people stop watching them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's the
But-
That's the realistic thing about it.
yeah.
It'll just turn into the
That's
Fast
what-
and Furious.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
dude.
it's gonna turn to the MCU.
Yeah,
It's
but the
that's
thing
what it
is,
is.
but
Oof.
the problem is with the MCU.
As far as like length.
You can't really
Yeah.
compare to the MCU though, because it gets worse and worse, but then all of a sudden there's a big, massive resurgence to where it's the number one rated, the number one grossing movie of all time now.
Mhm.
So I mean,
And it was objectively a good film.
yeah.
It's true.
So I
The
mean,
MC
you're gonna
You said the MCU gets worse and worse.
well, it gets more by the numbers up until because you have you start off
Yeah.
with Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, the big tree, the big trio.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, gee, freaking, I guess I have to watch Thor 2 because it has an Infinity Stone in it. And then it's like,
I
dude,
guess
Iron
that's
Man.
the
It's
one
like,
two and three.
it's
Yeah.
like Iron Man
That's true.
3.
I see
Come
your
on,
point.
kill me.
Yeah.
But then it's like, Ant-Man's kind of interesting, I guess. Ant-Man 2.
Kinda interesting.
Well, it's
Ant-Man's dope.
I love the
Respect.
first one. I love the first
You better
one.
put some
Don't-
respect on that,
don't-
man.
I love the first one. But
Don't
then it's
give
like,
Benny anything about it, man.
then it's like, then it's like Ant-Man 2. It's like, all right, well, there was no enemy in Ant-Man 2. Nothing happened.
Dude, Ant-Man 2 is great. What are you talking? Oh
What are you
gosh, here we
talking
go.
about? There was no bad
Different
guy in
lore
that movie.
episode.
There was
Yeah,
no,
different lore
there was
episode.
no bad
Guys,
guys in
Guys,
in 2
we
of the
should-
movies for sure.
we should
Ghost?
She was
the-
not a bad
we should
guy.
save
I'll
this
kill
Yellow
you.
argument.
Jacket?
Shut up, shut up.
We should save this argument
Yes,
for another
for another episode. Okay. But stop.
Oh my god.
Stop. Okay. All right.
I have an
Get your
idea.
arguments
Check this out.
ready.
Check this out.
Get your
Imagine Paul Rudd as a Jedi.
Ooh.
I'd be down.
Well,
He'd be like wisecracking the whole time. It'd be
but
great.
if Star Wars
I'd be
gets
down.
too funny, then I'm gonna be
No, this is-
upset. It's not good.
No,
Oh, it's a
no.
fantasy movie. It's a fantasy movie, but still.
No, this is what you do. this is what you do if you want to do that, and you want to make a non-serious and making fun of stuff.
It's gotta be a
like
side
Star
story.
Wars movie. You make a Tag and Bink movie. You guys know about them?
Oh yeah.
Oh
No.
yeah, I do know.
And you,
Starting Paul Rudd.
yeah, you cast Paul Rudd as one of them.
And Seth Rogen is the other one.
Oh my gosh, they're
I don't
just
even
like
know who these
blazing it
guys
up
are.
the whole time.
Are they? Do they show up all the
Yeah.
time or something? Are these two characters like in all?
No,
The,
okay, so
You never heard of him?
it's a
what's their
it's
names
a
again?
joke
Tag and
series.
what?
Tag
Yo,
and
Jamie,
Bink.
pull it up.
It's a
Tag.
joke series. It was a comic run. It's a joke series where it's kind of like it's written kind of like Rogue One, where it's like all while Star Wars is happening, but away from like the main action.
All right, those are
And
my
it's the two
favorite. Yeah, those are my favorite kind of
The
stories.
two yeah, they're the two unluckiest guys in the galaxy, Tag and Bink, and it's like it goes through and it's like they're responsible for like everything that happens in the galaxy, basically.
Oh my gosh!
Like one of them
Tag
is
and Bink. Yeah.
They have one of the best ones I think was there was something that happened. I can't remember exactly. I used to read a bunch of their comics, but there was one where they had it out. They had it in for C-3PO. He just kept crossing him and he kept screwing him over in some way. Like, so they were like, "Oh, next time I see that stupid droid, I'm gonna blast him." And then in the comic, it cuts to the scene in episode 5 when C-3PO goes in that room and is like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And then he gets blasted. And it's like it shows from their perspective, like, "I told you I was gonna destroy that droid." And they're like, "Man, did you really have to do that?" So stuff like, and it also explains why Boba Fett sucks in episode 6
Oh my gosh!
because it was like what they kept getting in trouble with him too, and I think what was it?
What
What
the
happened? I
hell?
can't remember exactly what happened, but he ended up where the real Boba Fett got like knocked out and tied up and like thrown
Oh
in
my-
his
okay,
ship or
well,
something like that.
They.
And then
Okay, good.
yeah, but
Oh, I was just
No,
gonna
it's
say they're confirmed canon because they're in a cameo in the Solo movie.
oh my
Wait, what?
gosh.
Yeah, they made a
Oh
a
my
cameo
gosh.
in Solo.
did they
Star
really?
Wars.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
I don't remember
Oh
that.
my God.
I'm seeing it right here.
Oh my god.
So they could.
Who were they?
What?
They were just some guys in the background, Imperial.
Yeah, because they kept sneaking their way through the Imperial, and that was one thing that they would always do is just like end
Damn
up.
it! Never mind. It was a deleted scene.
No, there we go. Oof.
Well, it's still.
Dodge that bullet or that laser blast.
Haha.
Yeah, unlike Greedo.
Huh.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Yeah, there's.
What was that?
So
What are they-
I got something.
This is like, let's see. Okay, so this is basically just a synopsis of the kind of stuff they get onto. Tag and Bink are two soldiers aboard the Rebellion flagship Tantive 4 when the Star Destroyer Devastator captures it. So, the start of episode 4. After almost being captured, they dress up as stormtroopers and are transported to the Death Star. They try to leave by stealing TIE fighters twice. Darth Vader realizes his need for 2 TIE pilots as wingmen for his fight against the rebel starfighters attacking the station. As the comic illustrates, it is not the Millennium Falcon's fault that Vader is almost killed in the trenches of Death Star, but Tag and Bink's lousy piloting.
Oh my gosh.
Although the 2 TIE fighters appeared to be destroyed, the next comic states they were in fact in the background when Vader selected the 2 pilots and they stole an Imperial landing craft and escaped from the Death Star moments before it exploded. So, they're
Dang.
those kind of guys.
See, those are my favorite
That's
types
what-
of thing. I love side stories and I
Yeah.
love filler episodes and Japanese cartoons, we'll call them.
Weeb.
Or in oh, dude, my favorite episodes of Adventure Time were freaking side stories. I love side stories and goofy characters. I love
Yeah.
I love the extended universe of anything. Like Halo, big fan of all that extended lore. Star Wars extended lore. I love side stories more than some of the main stories, honestly.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Speaking about side stories, so you know how in episode 4,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, if you shoot the missile through the trash compactor, the whole thing blows up, right?"
Yeah.
And seemingly you go, "Well, that's stupid. Why would you put the weakest?
Yeah.
Why would you put the weakness of that giant weapon in the trash?" But then Rogue One clarifies that nuance,
Yeah.
and that was actually well received, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was good.
why is that nuance well received? But when Solo, when Solo tries to clarify nuances, why
She's a piece of
why are
trash.
those
Wait,
not
how
well
did they
received?
How was it clarified in Rogue One? I don't.
Well,
So
because
basically, the
her dad is
Yeah,
a
her
rebel
dad planned it.
sympathizer, pretty much. He was like, I don't
Wait,
want to be a rebel. I don't want to be part of the Empire anymore. And they're like, you have to build the Death Star. So
Wait,
he's like,
he planned the trash compactor.
Yep.
yeah,
no, not
Not
no. He's talking about the exhaust port.
Yeah, the
not
exhaust
trash
port.
compactor.
Oh,
Yeah, Sassport. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Oh,
Sassport.
I was about to say, wait, I'm
the
confused.
trash
No, I get,
compactor
I
where
got.
that
Soft
alien
one.
grabs Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Mm.
Yeah. So that okay. So this is why to your question why Solo didn't work and why Rogue One did is because Rogue One took a self-aware approach where it's like, well, that seems like a really big oversight for the Empire to say, what all that would take is a $20 grate to put on that thing, and you're fine. But like, well, how about instead we make it so that it was intentionally designed as a weakness so small that the Empire wouldn't notice it, which
Right.
makes sense because they would never think because they're designing this thing to defend off like entire Starfleet. They're not thinking 30 fighters from a rebel base is going to just jump them and hit them, hit them like that. So the reason it didn't work in Solo as far as nuances goes is one, none of those things that they tried to cover were plot holes covering Solo. Were plot holes concerning that character, and they felt like they had to explain it anyway, which then ruined the mystique of the character.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
We
Well,
don't
also-
really
yeah.
need to know. We don't need to know why he got his name. We don't need to know why he calls Chewbacca Chewie.
Yeah.
You can explain how he meets Chewbacca. That's fine. I didn't like how they did it, but that's fine. You
No,
can do
I didn't
that.
either.
Nobody did.
But you don't have to. You also do not have to explain why he's where he gets his gun.
Yeah.
I mean that one could be a more interesting thing to have a story attached to. But other than that, you don't need to explain all that.
Yeah.
I would have rather have seen Solo as an adventure taking place maybe just a little bit before episode 4. Not like a backstory of the character, but just an adventure where it's like maybe they could play on the whole thing with maybe they'll play on the rivalry with Boba Fett. Maybe they could play on that one thing, the line he mentions to Jabba is like even smugglers get boarded sometimes, which is they're mentioning like how he jettisoned the smuggling thing that he was taking because the Empire boarded him. You could mention something like that. That could be a good story.
It's-
But
I think
instead, they gave us. They tried to explain the character, and it's a character that it was an impossible task from the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't see how it was going to work.
Well, I think it was
Also,
yeah. Go ahead.
the whole
Especially
Kessel
since,
Run
like-
thing, like they didn't need to explain the
No.
Kessel Run.
We knew what it
No.
was from episode 4. It's like, yeah, it's a run that you made.
Some
He
sort
made
of
12
race.
Well-
parsecs. It's
Well, the
everyone
thing
thought
is,
it was a race because they thought parsec was a
measurement.
a measurement of time and not
it's a distance.
Yeah.
but see, that's the whole
Well,
point
what
of
you-
that
you
line
could
is
easily-
that
you could easily explain that away as saying like he's saying that to test Obi-Wan into thinking like, am I getting how like it could be a throwaway line like, oh yeah, she's a fast ship. She made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, thinking like, oh, if this guy bites that and is like, oh wow, that's really good, then you could upcharge the crap out of him because he doesn't know crap about
yeah,
flying in ships.
yeah, that's like
Yeah.
oh,
That's how you could easily. I'm thinking you could easily do that. Explain that away.
because the way I look into it is when he said, oh yeah, this thing cleared the Kessel Run however many parsecs. You're at that point. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on, I gotta. At that point, the audience is supposed to catch on and say, "Oh, this guy's actually full of crap."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, honestly, it was an oversight by George Lucas. That's the real story of it. It was a mistake by Lucas that fans tried to explain away like we just did. Trying to uphold the story. It was just it's a mistake, is what it is. Just like how in the same movie that stormtrooper smacks his head on the door and he walks into,
and then they add
the
a
same
little
thing,
dunk
like-
versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had an actual
That was so funny.
a sound effect. Yeah. So, but yeah, like back to the whole Solo versus Rogue One is Rogue One took something that didn't make sense and made it make sense and work in the universe. Whereas Solo gave us answers to questions we never had or never wanted
We didn't
answered
need-
that
yeah.
didn't need to be answered.
Yeah, I was about to say that's what it's what so received in Rogue One is because it added something and answered questions that we wanted to know, and it's like, but Solo didn't really do anything, so it's like, cool. You're
Yeah,
giving me
and
fan
Solo is-
service. You're trying to make it
Cool story,
good
bro.
for me. Good for me.
Solo is also
Yeah.
about an already existing character
Yeah.
that like if
Yeah.
we're
yeah.
talking like like Hollywood wise, you're having a different play a beloved cinema character,
Mm,
and like that's
Yeah.
honestly one of the reasons why I want to watch it is
yeah.
because like no one can top the performance that
No.
Harrison Ford did as Han
No,
Solo,
No, you can't. You
and like
Yeah.
and like in Rogue One characters, and like it ties in very like immediately to the other movie. It like yeah, like you said, it gives an answer to a question we had, but in Solo, it's just about one guy we already know stuff about, and
Yeah.
you know, we don't really need
and
to
it
know.
shows and Rogue
no
One
more.
shows a and Rogue One shows a different kind of Star Wars. It shows because Star Wars is always kind of like the very clear good versus evil type thing, but in Rogue One you get characters that they're rebels are interrogating people and they'll shoot them just the same,
Mm.
And
Yeah.
they're not all good guys, and they're fighting a war, and there are some rebels that are even worse, and they're literally terrorists, and they're blowing up people in the streets, and
Like Saul
they're
Guerrero,
intending to- they're intending to kill
the
Forrest
best
Whitaker.
they're intending to
character in
kill
that
the
whole.
Imperials.
I
Yeah,
will
they're-
say
they're intending to kill the Imperials that are coming through, but they also don't care how many civilians are in the way when they do it. They just
Yeah.
destroy the whole thing. And
I will say like about Solo, I did appreciate like how it kind of explained why people are part of the empires, because like they just need something to money, they need something
They
to
need,
They need
yeah,
stability.
to
to
escape
get by.
to.
Mm.
And like I liked they put him in the empire for a little bit, and they're just like soldiers. It's like, what are we even doing? Like, what are we fighting? Like our like whatever, our leader just died. Like, who's the new leader? You know, like I thought that was a different side of Star Wars that was cool, but everything, yeah,
it didn't work very well for me.
yeah.
I just like
Yeah, I agree.
It was entertaining. I was entertained, but I wasn't like impressed.
I wasn't even entertained.
Really?
honestly,
Like,
I was more
felt there were some spectacles that were okay, but honestly, I was like, this is not gonna be anything new that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
This is gonna be they're gonna literally rip off a scene from Star Trek where they escape from a black hole by detonating the warp core, or in this case, the hyperdrive, which is they're literally gonna do that. And I was like, okay, fine, do that, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it didn't fit.
Yeah, the whole movie was just kind of all over the place. I think it also had to do with the, like, I was, like, sans Han Solo not being, or Harrison Ford not being in it, like a different actor playing him. I was totally okay with how it originally was planned with Phil Lord and Chris Miller writing the story. Those dudes are hilarious.
Mm.
Yeah.
Disney just like made a big mistake by
Big
kicking
ol'
him off.
oopsie.
Those dudes made like the Lego movie, the 21 Jump
then-
Street movies.
Then they went on to win an Oscar for Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
That's true.
Mm.
They went on to make
Suck
a
it, Disney.
much better.
But apparently their version of Solo was way sillier than what we got.
Probably.
Well, I
cool
probably
with
would like that a
that.
little bit more at this point.
Yeah. Hey, as long as I'm
Which I think
Wow.
would have been better. And
Yeah.
I think some of it still remain, like I think some of it's left over, like when Han tries to speak Shriwook to Chewbacca
Mm.
when he meets him the first time, he's like, that I think that was a leftover of them.
Yeah. It's like
so,
with Ant-Man.
I don't know.
I kind of thought that part was cringy.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Not,
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
the
it
part where
was
he tried to
because it
speak
didn't-
Wookiee, I was like,
It didn't fit with the rest of the movie. Is what it was the problem.
Yeah, they were trying to make
So
it
they-
serious.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
If it had already been like funny up until that point, that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be all right if they had done that. Make it either all funny or all serious.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Ant-Man. I think you were just you were just trying you just said that, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Triggered.
well, it's because they kicked Edgar Wright off of the writing team, but some of the stuff left in, like the whole the time when he's like, "Yeah, I was talking to the babysitter who was talking
Oh,
to
yeah.
that was all
love
Edgar
that.
Wright
Yeah.
for sure." You could.
Oh,
you,
dude,
And
that
the-
was the
you knew
And the
that.
best.
You knew
train,
that was
the
him.
whole train fight scene when they're on
Yes.
the Thomas
oh,
the Tank Engine.
absolutely.
It zooms out. Pew, pew. It's just like tiny
Absolutely.
little.
That was totally him for
Wait,
sure.
Nick. So that
Yeah.
that whole the Luis monologue was Edgar Wright.
It has to
Probably.
be. It has to be left over because that's
Oh,
if you
dude.
watch like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
That's
very-
very.
Dude,
Edgar
this-
Wright.
This for let's save it for another episode though.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
a-
true.
yeah.
That's true.
Episode 2, baby.
Half
Yeah.
of this
But it's
podcast
just-
is just us talking about other things.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for an hour and 45, my guys.
Oh,
We've been
wow.
talking about Star Wars for an hour, 45 minutes,
There's just so much to talk about, you
and
know.
other
It
things.
really is.
Yes,
Yeah,
way
but did we
too much
ever
to talk
really?
about.
We talked about a bunch of stuff, but I mean, maybe I'll just highlight.
One thing,
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing I would like to hear
hmm
from I guess all of you is if you let's say that that Star Wars 7 comes out and JJ's off the project and then they gave it they gave it to some kind of a no-name guy, Ryan Johnson, to do. What if you were that no-name guy? So you have like an empty slate.
What would I
So
do
what-
with Star Wars?
What do you think you would do with that? Because now
man.
you have to keep building on what was already set up in episode 7,
Oh,
but you can take it any way you want. What
I
are you gonna
suppose
do
so,
with
yeah.
it?
I'll tell you, the first thing I would do.
Yeah, let's go in order. Let's do Benny,
let's-
then Noah, and then I'll go last.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's go in order.
Or Andy
All right.
goes.
Yeah,
after
I
someone.
have stuff to contribute to, so just add
Dude,
something.
freaking Andy's written dissertation on this.
He's got composition. He's got composition
Yeah, dude.
books lining his shelves.
So I guess I'll
Okay,
go first.
Benny goes first. Benny goes first.
So I just feel like he broke a lot of the precedent that was established not only in episode 7 but in the past movies. So like for example, Yoda summoning lightning from the skies.
Oh.
To me that was dumb.
Okay.
Not to mention that like, oh, the sacred Jedi writings, like when was that ever a thing?
Ooh.
Secret text.
And
Coruscant.
yeah,
my dude,
when was that
Coruscant.
ever a thing?
Coruscant, my dude.
But they
Holocrons.
I
of
mean,
the,
I guess.
the restriction.
Anyway.
the restricted. Yeah, go ahead.
Not to mention the whole like the setup of the movie where it's like, hey, I need you to train me, and then he's like, oh, I won't train you. Okay, I'll train you, but then he never actually trains her. That was dumb.
True.
And then Rey going into that pit is supposed to be an allusion to Luke going into the forest
Mm.
and
Yeah.
seeing Darth Vader, but then Rey goes into that pit, and that contributes absolutely nothing to the story.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
that was actually pointless. You know, up to what we've
Mhm.
seen. Also, there was just some characters that were super throwaway.
Mhm.
Rose is like the number one.
I didn't
and
mind
Yeah.
her character, but she
I
was
hated her character. I hated her with a passion.
Well, she said
The
love a little
whole-
bit too quick.
The whole subplot. Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I mean, it's
The
kinda
whole
believable.
sub-
They're both virgins.
The whole
That's why.
the whole subplot of Poe and the tension between the pink-haired lady and like that whole subplot was kind of
Oof.
dumb.
Mhm, yeah.
The Mary Poppins moment, it was dumb. Leia should have
Oh,
died.
She's- Yep.
Mm. So
The casino scene, I think, was weird, and
it should have lasted longer,
Yeah.
I think. Or not at all.
Oh my god.
Or not at
no,
all. I
no.
I love casino scenes in movies and stuff. I like side missions.
Maybe if they're pulling a heist or something, that would have been cool.
yeah. Oh,
and another
like-
thing that
yeah,
I also just like we're building up Snoke. I was excited about Snoke. Like I honestly, when I saw episode
Yeah.
7, I was like, oh man, Snoke looks cool. I'm for it. And then when you're in episode 8, and he's like, oh, I was actually the one that linked Kylo Ren and Rey, and you know, let them have that moment. I was like, that's actually kind of dope because he's playing with their minds.
He's
Yeah.
hooking up
But then
with
they
that.
just-
yeah.
And then then they have this pretty cool fight sequence in the throne room, and then they kill him in the most stupid
yeah.
way.
It's not actually cool. I
Yeah.
watched a breakdown of the
Nah.
scene. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's really badly
Yeah,
choreographed.
it's not- that
Choreograph wise, it's bad.
It's awful.
It looks.
I think it
really
was.
dope.
I think it was corridor guys. They were looking at it. and They're like, they're just
Yeah.
standing around waiting, swinging swords, because they're waiting for
Yeah,
Rey
one
to
guy
kill-
literally steps back in order to
Yeah,
like.
and he's spits-
like-
okay.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
and
we're
you see- and you
interrupting.
see and you
Yeah,
pay-
sorry.
You pay attention between, like, if you pay attention between, there's a lot of inconsistencies too, where it's like, oh, here's a guy with 2 knives, but in the next shot, because he has to be blocked and then killed, one of his knives disappears or something
Yeah.
like that. There's a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And then
Okay.
at the end where I don't know, like the whole Luke force ghosting,
Mm.
it's just it's
Yeah.
very
Hmm.
it feels super like the site it doesn't come to an end
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't resolve, I guess what I'm saying.
Mm.
Which, I mean, I guess you're supposed to leave room for a sequel, but you're supposed to. I just
Yeah.
feel like they were just supposed to have resolved episode 8 in a
It's supposed to
concise
stand
way,
alone.
Yeah.
and they didn't to some extent. And Ray
yeah.
never got trained,
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's
All of a
like,
sudden, she
the
just,
Jedi Order has to die, but then it's like, nah, not really. They don't have to die. Never mind.
Psych.
Like, dude, what?
So with all those things that you said suck, what would you do differently then? Like Andy was saying, you have
Right,
free
yeah.
reign.
What's your version?
Yeah,
And
gosh.
your version of episode 8.
Because we're already like, and I'm thinking kind of keep it condensed because we're already,
Yeah.
this is the end of it. or whatever.
I honestly would have had Luke train Ray legitimately. I would have had that whole nod of Ray going into the hole and actually something happening, like she sees something about herself or whatever.
What would happen?
What?
Yeah, what would happen? What would you do? What would you do with that?
I would have had her, kind of like what happened to Luke, that he saw his, the evil side or whatever.
Mm.
I would have had Ray going into that hole and made her realize one of her character flaws, which was essentially what happened to Luke in Dagobah. And then
Okay.
I would have killed Snoke, and I would have explained more of Snoke's character, and I probably would have killed him in a better way, and then I would have had that vacuum be filled up by Kylo Ren.
Mm.
Okay.
And I would have never have had Rose to begin with, and I would have killed Leia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's
All right. Okay.
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 All right. So
I can
go
see-
ahead,
yeah, I can
Noah.
definitely see that.
Go ahead, Noah. Tell us yours now.
Okay, so I agree with a lot of the things Benny. Let's just say, right, like the movie that Ryan Johnson made is null. Like he didn't make it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Clean slate. You have.
I
You are episode 8.
I would
Yeah.
have it so like there's the problem is like some of the things he did wasn't necessarily bad. Like I
Right.
do like the
mm.
fact that I like that Snoke. I think Snoke dying is dumb, but I like that now Kylo Ren is now First Order. I think that is a cool thing. But I think what I would do, honestly, I don't know what I'd do with the Luke thing. I don't know what I'd do. I would kill Leia.
Yeah.
Leia needs to die, and Luke needs to. I think there's more things need to happen with Luke.
Yeah.
The only Jedi that they have, like, into, and he could help them, and I think he needs to train. I think he needed to train for a bit, but I do like the idea of him being afraid of her power. What I would do so you know how like that whole scene is like Kylo Ren is flying around, he shoots the thing, and he like I don't know if he accidentally gets like pops Leia out of the ship on accident or if that was somebody else, but he's
It was the
around,
other guy.
and I would have it so that he was the one who
Yeah.
accidentally killed him or her.
Yeah.
And so unlike the rage that he felt after he killed his dad, like I would want
Yeah.
like some sort of change of
Mm,
heart, not
yeah.
necessarily reverse, but
Right.
I would
Yeah.
have it so that basically Kylo Ren and Rey start to switch places. Like he like realized that he's like not like that something. I don't know. I would have I want Rey to turn evil. I think that'd be a
Oh.
really cool thing. 'Cause
Oh, the plot thickens.
like and like she's too powerful, and like they're already scared of her power, and I think like she could get too in her head about like start doing bad things. I think that would be an interesting take, because like I don't know. We don't often have female villains, and I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And then it would be in keeping
Especially
with
in
the
Star Wars.
Skywalker.
You
Yeah.
listening, Hollywood? You had a Saz Ventress,
like-
and now you have Ray.
And especially that would be keeping in line with the Skywalkers being the heroes.
Yeah.
But I still really like them fighting together. But I would want basically role
Yeah.
reverse, and I want to also I'd also want Snoke to stay around because
Yeah,
I think I do like how like he was kind of like hooking them up to that Force FaceTime thing they had going on. I think that
Yeah.
like I don't know. I like Snoke as a character. I think he wasn't explored enough, and I think that maybe you could kill him, but you need to have him be much more integral to the plot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like I don't know what you do with Poe and Finn all, but you'd have to do something with them.
Poe.
But mainly, my main thing is I'd want Rey to
Yeah.
be bad. That'd be kind of sick.
That's pretty interesting right there.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
All right. Do you want to go, Andy, or do you want me to go? I think you should go.
Which do you?
I think you should go last because you have.
You want me to go?
I think you should
Okay,
go
go
last
ahead
because
then.
you probably have a bunch of stuff
I
to
have
say.
thought about this a
Oh
lot, actually.
man,
All right,
Andy's
so-
been brewing over here.
all right. So I think I would start off, of course, with the whole training thing. I think it would take at least a good quarter of the movie, but they would go back and forth between the whole crap with what's going on the ship with Poe and what's his face, Finn. I think they should do that. They should go on a side mission because side missions are awesome. I love side missions. They should go to the casino, I think, but make it last a little bit longer. Get rid of Rose, and I think Poe and Finn should have gone. They could have had like some funny moments there to ease some of the tension that's going on with his training with Luke and
Yeah.
Rey. I think the whole should have been something because it really wasn't.
Yeah.
I think they should have explained more of how and why Luke cut himself off from the Force, maybe, just because it's kind of glossed over.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think
Yeah.
skipping ahead a little bit, that Kylo Ren should be the one who fires, but he doesn't know, like, he doesn't know that Leia's in the command thing. He's like, oh, she's probably in a different part of the ship, or he sends her somewhere else, and he destroys it, and then he realizes, oh, damn, I made a mistake. And so he does have a heart-changing moment, and he's like, oh, he tries to save his mom, but she is no longer with us. I think that should have killed her.
Yeah.
So she would be like, he'd be like, oh, dang, I made a really bad mistake. So then he would have a change
Oh,
of
that'd
heart.
been great.
And then I think moving ahead again to the whole thing whenever they go to Snoke to go fight him, I think what should have happened is, for me, what I would have done is I would have had him do the whole lightsaber twist thing, but right before he does it, Snoke somehow realizes that he is about to die, so he like apparates out of there like in Harry Potter. He gets out of there. So then his knights have to take over. His little honor guard has to take over, and then Rey and Kylo have that awesome fight scene that they do. So then he's redeemed, but Snoke is still the main bad guy, and then they have to team up and fight Snoke in the next episode. So he's like redeemed. So then I think the whole last part of the movie would just not exist because since he's redeemed, he doesn't come back. I think Luke should have stuck around and trained both of them. Maybe that's like they come back shoulder to shoulder, and Luke's like, oh dang, why did I cut myself off from the Force? I could have seen this happening. And now he can train the both of them to fight this greater evil that is Snoke. And I think the Knights of Ren maybe would like make a cameo appearance, and they're like at the end credits, and they're like, whoa, what just happened to Kylo Ren? He's a good guy now. And then they try and hunt down Kylo in the next episode. Maybe they should be like bad guy bounty hunters. I think that's what I would have done.
Okay, that's cool. That's pretty.
Can I add something
Alright,
to my part? I apologize.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
So like I was thinking more about like why Rey would turn bad, and like I can think it's understandable that Luke would want to cut himself off from the Force. Like he saw all this wacky stuff go down, and like his whole family is all Force sensitive, and I think he just wanted to get away from it. You know, I think a cool thing would be we could still have the whole him cutting himself off from the Force, he was like afraid of Kylo Ren's powers, and he tried to kill Kylo Ren, and that's why Kylo Ren turned bad. Like I'm okay with that. But maybe Rey sees that, and she's like, "You're not like like that was awful. Like, how could you do that?" And so like that, maybe she has like this. She turns against Luke, and she, "Why did you do that?" And she gets pissed off at him. I don't know. Like that's just a thought that came into my head. And she's like, he's having a change of heart. He's like, well, maybe the Jedi need to come back. And she's like, nah, the Jedi are gone. Like I think what you did. And so,
Okay.
sorry, I was just thinking that.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Anyways,
Okay, so mine.
yes.
All right.
Oh boy.
If
We're ready.
I had an idea for how to restructure the entire trilogy, like starting
Whoa.
over with 7, but I'm not going to go there because that's going to take too long.
Maybe another
But
episode.
this is if 7, yeah. So if 7, if I'm given 8, and I don't have anything to do with 7, this is what happens. So similar type things. It starts open with the First Order after losing their massive, their Death Star their Star Killer base. Are like, oh crap, we need to strike hard and we need to strike fast against this resistance because we underestimated them, and now we're going to come out with force. So you can have the opening be the same. They show up, but the Rebel fleet, the Resistance fleet, is absolutely unprepared for how quickly they get there and for how many troops they have with them. And their base, the Dreadnought comes in and immediately starts to blasting capital ships. Because in my version, the Resistance would have more than just one capital ship. Because it doesn't make sense to me that they're fighting the greatest threat in the galaxy and they only have one capital ship. But the Dreadnought comes in and immediately, instead of destroying the base originally, just starts wasting these capital ships. And that's when Poe comes in, go on his daring mission, gets most of his crew killed on the daring mission. It's not like a stupid oh, you risked too much. It was like it was a necessary risk because if we lose everything here, it's over. They destroy the Dreadnought under blistering fire from all the cruisers and all of the, everything. And all that's basically what happens is he's basically one of the only pilots left. You could have that same A-Wing pilot. I'm thinking what you do is you replace Rose's character with that A-Wing pilot that he was friends with at the beginning. And they're the only two left to survive that, because Kylo Ren comes out there and they just wrecks them all. And the he basically what happens is there's only so there's the one ship, the capital ship, and a few cruisers with them. And then what happens is Poe and Finn's already been loaded up onto a different ship. And so they get out of there, the Dreadnought, they blow it up and they're like, yes, we did it, we can get out of here. Boom, another one comes out of hyperspace. And they're like, oh no, now what? So then they hit the hyperspace and they just kind of scatter. And you have the main fleet go off in one direction, and you have Poe land on the other ship. Poe and the new character, whatever her name was, I can't remember what her name was, land on the other transport with Finn, and they go off in a different direction. And so the fleet splits off into two different things, and they get separated basically. So you can kind of have the same thing where the main fleet is getting chased around the outer rim, and this is deep space where there's not much around. Snoke's ship comes out of nowhere, but instead of being like, oh yeah, well we can track them through hyperspace or whatever here, and having the crisis of no hyperspace fuel, they use a gravity well, and what that does is that prevents hyperspace jumps. So there's literally nothing they can do. They're just running. You can still keep that. So when Kylo Ren goes out to engage that ship, I like what you said. He ends up killing Leia. I think that works, and I think that's egged on by the fact that Snoke is at the beginning, like he did, lighting him up for his failure to protect Starkiller, to get Rey on their side, all that stuff, saying stuff like "You're not worthy of the Skywalker bloodline," blah 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 blah, and it completely ticks off Kylo Ren to the fact where it's like, well, fine, I'll go out and I'll prove myself. He goes out, fires the missile, blows it up. Leia goes out into space. But as she's dying, the last thing she does before she dies is she reaches out to him through the Force, like she did with Luke in Episode 5. and she basically says the equivalent of like, I know I lost you, but I never stopped loving you. That kind of,
Oh, dang,
what a
you
mother
made me
would say
cry.
as she's dying
Oof.
to a son that's abandoned her.
Yikes.
And that completely, and what you can do there is when that happens, it like you could even write it as like you see him kind of he gets hit with this flashback of like all the things he's done. And so you can start all the way back of him like turning on Luke and kind of tell a little bit of the story through that. He turned on Luke, and my version of it is that he got drawn to the dark side because when Luke was doing training, he and his Jedi followers, they were collecting Jedi and Sith artifacts to study, and they found this Sith artifact that was like a holocron, but you needed only you had to have so much dark side affinity to open it, and Luke couldn't open it, and he didn't want to open it. He wanted to keep it away.
Oof.
But that's where Kylo sees that, and he's like, "Whoa, like that speaks to me. That something's. I need to see what's in that. I have to know what's there." Because he's like, it's promising him power, and he's like, "I gotta get it." And he opens it, and it helps corrupt him and drive him to the point where he turns on Luke and all that stuff. And they have a showdown, whatever. After that, this is all stuff that you get very briefly in his flashback that he's having, and then through that's how he meets Snoke and so on. As he's flying back, he realizes it all comes back to Snoke, and his mind. He's not taking responsibility for the fact that he killed both of his parents, and he turned on Luke and everything. It all comes back to Snoke, and he's like, Snoke's the reason. I hate Snoke, and I did, and that's the snapping point where he stopped listening to Snoke. It's like Snoke must die. So then you snap over to the island where Luke is. They start talking and stuff, and he kind of starts explaining. I was going to have it go one of two ways. Either he's on that island to try to figure out what Snoke is and try to to commune with the spirits and figure out what he should do about it, or he went to that island to rekindle his connection to the Force because in his showdown, somehow that holocron that Kylo Ren had severed his tie to the Force completely and left him useless, basically. And so after 30 years of having the Force as him and being able to use it, it's basically like losing both of his legs. He can't deal with it, and he can't help Kylo unless he has that. So that's why he goes to that island to try to rekindle that and whatever. So when Rey shows up, and it has that scene, I kind of like that scene where she's like, "I don't sense you. You're not connected to the Force. What's going on?" He can kind of explain like, "Well, yeah, this is why," and he feels he can feel like he failed Kylo. I think that's okay, but. My version of Rey is a little bit different. It's based on 7, but in this version of Rey, the fact that she's nobody and she doesn't come from anywhere important, and I think something that was really good that Kylo brought up was that she's looking for a father figure and all these people that they can't fulfill these expectations she has for them, and she goes into the cave and has the same revelation that she's nobody and comes from nothing, and it breaks her basically, and she's like, I need somewhere to belong, and I have to be part of something. And Luke can't, she doesn't feel the connection with him, and she's like, I gotta have something. And that's when you can have a connection between her and Kylo, and he starts kind of pulling to her. And he's like, I know we're both in the same position. We're looking for something that we both need.
Oh.
You need some place to belong, and I can show you where that is. And I need, whatever he needs. And she starts kind of being drawn a little bit more towards him. And it's like, well, maybe he's got a point. He's not all evil. He's not the evil guy I fought in the last one. He's changed. He's different. I can save him. And she starts, building on that. Meanwhile, snap over to the other three. Finn wakes up and he's with Poe, and he's with that female pilot. Now they're in contact with Admiral Akbar, who has taken control of the ship now that Leia's dead. It's not Holdo, whatever her name is. It's Admiral Akbar. And they're like, yeah, we're in big trouble. Like, there's nothing out here. We kind of just jumped to random coordinates to get away, but they found us anyway. We didn't know there were this many of them. We're screwed. Like, we got to do something. So Finn and the rest of them are like, okay, well, we got to do something. Let's go. And that's when they do their side quest and go to the planet or whatever. Because they're like, they talk to Maz and they're like, well, if we have to somehow get in and shut down that gravity well, right? We got to do something about it. So they talk to her, and she's like, go to this planet. I know the guy who can help you. Go there. And so they go there, and instead of it being just some random dude with a flower on his lapel, it's Lando.
Ooh.
It's Lando. He's there, and he's like, yeah, I can help you. I can get you what you need. And at first he's like, I'm not interested. I'm done with fighting with this thing. I just want to live my life. And I got involved in the Empire and the Rebellion. They're like, whoa, you're like a rebel hero. And he's like, I don't care. I don't want any of that. I just want to, I own this facility now and blah blah blah. And I want to. But then after he realizes both Leia and Han are dead, he's like, oh, this is serious. We got to do something. So that's what snaps him into gear, and he gets in there. Then cutting back to Rey and Luke's like, it's basically a mirror of Episode 5, where she's like, I can go save him, and Luke's like, no, you can't. You're not ready. You can't do it. And she's like, well, you can't even feel him. You can't. She's kind of starting to turn on him because she's getting both sides of the conflict between him and Kylo, because Kylo's like, no, he turned on me and he wouldn't let me, he would kept me from things and blah blah blah. He was hiding secrets, and Luke was like, I was doing that to protect him, blah blah blah. You can have that whole thing. And so she's starting to side with Kylo a little bit. So then she runs off to go help him. End up with Snoke in the scene, whatever. You can have the same thing where it's like, I'm not gonna play it like they did in the Return of the Jedi, where it's like, haha, watch your little friend's fleet get destroyed, and that was too much. That was way too much. But what happens is, so he's like, who do you think was the one who brought you here? Who do you think was the one who set you both up on this, like, these 3 random blind dates to figure each other out? It was me. I'm the guy. And then they're like, well, who the hell are you? And he says some things that kind of a little bit reveals, kind of he's like, I don't give a crap about the Jedi or the Sith. I'm not either of those things. I just want power, and I know the Force is where I can get it. And they're like, okay, well, what's up with this? And they have, and Kylo tries to turn on him, but he's not an idiot, so he sees it coming, and he's like, haha, well, what you didn't know. And there were 2 things that I was thinking here. And it's going to be a dramatically different story in the next one, depending on what happens. First of all, they could kill him in the same way. I kind of like that in some ways. But I also realize that if you try to redeem Kylo Ren in the next story, you don't have a villain.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah.
So what you could do is kind of like what you said. I think Noah said this, that he kind of just like, yeah, I saw this coming. I'm not a dumbass. I was never on this ship to begin with. I wouldn't come to the front lines of a battle because I'm not a fucking idiot. So he's like, you thought you killed me, but instead it's either, it's like an android or something like that. And he's like, and he phases out of there. He's like, but instead, because I saw your betrayal and I knew you turned on me, here, these guards that are with me, they aren't just normal guards. These are the Knights of Ren. These are your friends, Kylo, and they're here to kill you. And so they fight him off. They team up. They fight him, and it's a really hard fight for both of them. And they both get beat up and gnashed up and all that stuff. But they finally prevail because Kylo's the best student and Rey's really good. And it's a really hard fight for Kylo because these are his friends. These are the people that he was training with and all that stuff. But at this point, he's like, I can't turn back. Like, Snoke's been poisoning you. He's been poisoning all of us. They kill them all, that kind of stuff. And so then you can have the same scene, which I thought was really good, where he's talking to her and she's like, you know where you're from, don't you? And she's like, and she's all broken up and she's like, I'm nobody and I'm nothing and I'm from nowhere. And he's like, yeah, that's true, but we can figure out what you are together, because I know someplace we can go to do that. And we can leave all of this behind. All of this needs to burn. The rebellion, the First Order, the Jedi, the Sith, all of it. It's all pointless. Let's go our own path, basically. And she joins him, and they both they go off, and that's the last we see of them for the movie. So, cutting back to the final battle, the rebels finally make it to a planet where they're trying to hold out because the First Order's been picking them off this whole time. I kind of liked the light speed scene, but I wouldn't do it in light speed because that just doesn't make sense as far as like it opens up too many holes in the universe. So instead, what's his name? Admiral Akbar. Instead, Admiral Akbar, he just does a straight bombing run. Like he just does a straight ramming after everyone's evacuated, and rams it into Snoke's ship, and that like disrupts everything. It's everything explodes or whatever. Meanwhile, Finn and the rest of them have gone through a few like D&D side quest type pitfalls where they're with Lando, and Lando's like, I know where we can get help, but we need to do this thing to do this thing. They have their little, maybe they do a heist. I kind of like that idea. Yeah. But they rally up enough support because they know Lando, and Lando has connections that they come in, they'll come in at the last minute and defeat the First Order and stuff. Meanwhile, on board all that chaos is going on, Hux walks into the chamber, sees that Snoke isn't there, sees that, Snoke isn't there, or actually, I would probably have him, I don't know. I can't decide whether or not, what story would be better if he's killed or not. In this scenario, let's just say he died. Because then Hux declares himself supreme leader. Ooh. And it's like, we're going to crush the rebellion. Yeah. And he's not an idiot in this version either. He's the one that was responsible, comes in, wipes them out in the first scene. So he's not dumb. But he's like, we've got him now. Send everything. We're going to destroy him. This is it. This is my swan song. This is it. You can have the big battle on the planet. That's fine. It'd be more of a battle and less of a, we're just going to send 12 speeders out there against AT-ATs and get our asses kicked and then have a door explode or something like that. There'd be more of a battle going on and be more chaotic and stuff. And it looks like everything's going to end and it's going to be bad for, it's going to be bad for everybody. And then they link up with Chewie and they link up with the rest of them, and they bring their reinforcements that Lando has in common. Hux gets away, but he gets away with Phasma and a few of the others, and they get out of there. And then they're like, yay, we lost a lot of troops. We lost most of our troops, but we won the battle. That's great. Then at the end, so like that's where the movie ends or whatever. At the end, you have would be the last scene of the movie and this is something I think you could introduce, is you have Luke back on the island, and instead of there's an apparition of the Emperor there, and the Emperor's torturing him, and it kind of reveals that Luke never got over that night on the Death Star, that it's been haunting him ever since then, and it's been something that he struggled with, and that could have played a part into why he distanced himself from Kylo, why something was going on, that kind of stuff, why he didn't see Kylo was, whatever. We could play into that, but then
that would be.
He's sitting there like, this is all my fault. This is bad. I don't know what to do. And the Emperor's like tackling him and torturing him and stuff. And then, yes, I would do full on. Hayden Christensen, Space Ghost, basically walks out and is like, the galaxy needs the Luke that saved me. That's what he needs right now. And so he has this conversation with, and I would cast Hayden Christensen again, have him reprise the role. The galaxy needs you. Yeah. And at the end of that movie, you would have, he finally kind of looks at the Emperor and he says something like, "I'm a Jedi like my father before me, and I will never turn to the dark side," or whatever. And he walks over to the edge of the cliff where his X-wing is, and like Yoda did, he lifts it out of the water.
Oh yeah.
You can have the whole da-da, and you can have the twin suns in the background, and as he gets in and flies off toward the twin suns, you can have the twin suns theme, the da 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 da, as
the Force theme,
as he leaves, and as he's leaving, you see Hayden, the ghost of Hayden Christensen, standing there watching him, and beside him appears Yoda, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, the rest of them. They just kind of appear there. Nice. And that's the end of that movie. Ooh. Then, what I would do...
Whoa.
No. This is something I think would be really cool. Is as the trailer for the next movie, you don't actually have a trailer. What you do is you have a scene where Kylo Ren and Rey land on this planet, and I would imagine this planet kind of like this barren, dark planet. Everything's like black, smooth marble, and she's all like, she comes out and she's like, oh, feels really weird. I'm getting these really strong light side and dark side vibes. It's really freaking me out. I don't like this. And Kylo's like, yeah, it's really a lot to take in, but you got to kind of just work your way through it. He walks down, opens up this cave, and and then these lights come on, and down the middle of this cave, there on one side in blue are like wall-to-wall Jedi artifacts, and on the other side in red are Sith artifacts.
Oh.
And she's like, so she kind of asks, because he would have explained at some point, like, who is Snoke? Like, what the hell's going on with this thing? And he would explain, Snoke wasn't a Jedi or a Sith. He was a collector of Force things. His whole point was get power in any form that's necessary. So during the Galactic Civil War, he stayed uninvolved. He got rich off of, he discovered some sort of element or something and got rich off of that, which is how he built his army, and took over a segment of the Empire after it crumbled, worked his way in there, and got all their tech. And for ages, he's been collecting Jedi and Sith artifacts. And so she's like, well, what is this place? And he's like, and Kylo reaches down, picks up something, and says, this is where we learn the truth. And as he holds it up to the light, you see it's Obi-Wan's lightsaber from Episode 4. And then cut to black. And that would be, I would release that scene right there that I just described. That would be the trailer for the next one. And that would be it.
That would be in the movie too for the next one?
No.
Oh, so
No.
it's just its own, contained
It's
thing.
a standalone. Yes, it's a standalone in between half, kind of like an end credit scene.
That's kind of cool.
But because
Nice.
Star
So
Wars
it's,
doesn't have end credits, that's how you do it. And
Yeah,
you
so
release
it's
it on
not
YouTube,
gonna-
and you don't do you don't do any other trailers for the
No
next
other
movie.
marketing.
No, I mean, you can do you're gonna have to do the posters and stuff, but
Fire your
that's
marketing
it.
department. That's what I say.
Oh my god. Seems like a
But
great.
that you drop that, and that's the only video about it that comes out.
That'd be pretty dope, actually, my dude.
So
That'd
that's
be-
that's
So it's not
That's
gonna
my whole
Halo 5
rewrite.
us. It's not gonna Halo 5 Guardians us.
no.
Where they had the deceptive scene, and then they literally used the opening cutscene as a trailer at some point. So it's like, thanks,
Yeah.
bud. I paid $60 to see this again. Thanks.
Right, exactly. No, you wouldn't do that. Like, it would be an in between. This is where they went, but we're just gonna carry on from that in the movie.
Oh, dude. Well, I hate to break it to you, but someone already did that with another property called Panda Man. Not gonna say. I'm not gonna say who directed that little in between, and it was literally a commercial for
Your
that.
magnum
yeah.
opus. Is that your magnum opus in it?
Ooh, that one commercial that I made, but never saved, so it's not anywhere. It doesn't exist. Only Panda Man
Yeah,
1
There's
and
no
2.
proof.
Well, actually,
wait.
technically,
Which one?
there was a film.
I think it,
Yep. Go ahead.
There's technically a film I made for Julie Brown that I used some of
Ew.
the Panda Man footage
Oh, that's
from
right.
the very first one.
Oh
So
my
it
gosh,
technically could exist in the same universe.
dude. Oh my gosh. I know the next video. We're gonna talk about Panda Man. Panda Man.
Panda
lore.
Man
The Panda Man
cinematic
lore?
universe.
Oh
God.
gosh.
Well, they're so short we could actually show it, and then we could talk about all the stuff we wanted to,
Oh,
like
goodness.
what the plans were gonna be.
Uh,
Ooh. Next time though, I gotta set it up right because we're literally dropping
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of frames, so it'll be choppy this first one. Like there's 133,000 frames, but out of 2 hours and 22 minutes, it's only actually it's a lot.
Oh man,
But still,
I feel like my explanation took up most of that.
it's all good.
It's a good chunk. It's a good chunk.
It's okay.
I'll
Oh,
I
read
will
good,
say
though.
Yeah.
I really like the idea with Hayden Christensen. I know that they had planned to put Hayden Christensen in The Last Jedi.
yeah, which would
but
have made
yeah.
sense, honestly,
speaking of Hayden Christensen, I actually see him
all
like
the time.
I work at a undisclosed
Oh, yeah, you
fast
told
food
me.
restaurant
Yeah, you
in
did.
the
Of course,
Hollywood
of
area.
course.
Oh,
What's
so
the
I-
only fast
Really?
food there?
I actually see he comes through. He's a really nice dude. He's like genuinely
that's
like
awesome.
a super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, why you flexing?
Well, it's okay. I
'Cause
saw. Okay,
Star
go
Star
ahead.
Wars related. No, I
Well,
was just saying it's Star Wars related.
since I live in Atlanta and everyone's making movies here in Atlanta, not to flex, but when I worked at Smello Flush Room up in Kennesaw, Dave Bautista.
You can't say the name of the business, bro.
Yeah, I said smell of flush room, my dog. It's different.
Oh, okay.
So I'm up there working at the one in Kennesaw. Shout out to that place. But Dave Bautista comes in and we're all like, dude, is that Dave Bautista? And he's this big muscular dude, and we're like, damn, that's him. So yeah, he came in, and then my parents went to a baseball game for an undisclosed Atlanta team. That is very brave. That's very brave.
Well,
And they're in the Delta Skybox because they were given tickets by one of their bosses.
Dang.
And
Sick.
in this super awesome, nice Delta box, right in front of them is Dave Bautista, and then in front of him is Finn Wolfhard. So like, hey, that little kid from Stranger Things you like is here, and I'm like, what the heck? And then my sister did the hair for Stranger Things season 3. It's like in the credits. It's like Tony. And Guy.
Wow.
No way.
well, that's
Yeah.
so sick.
So where
You
it's
told me about that.
Yeah, it's so in the credits if you see like hair by Tony and Guy. My sister was in school whenever they had to go do this, so she did all the perms because they filmed Stranger Things in Atlanta. So she did a lot of the
Wow.
hair. So everyone out here seeing all these famous people, and I've seen Dave Bautista. My parents have seen Dave Bautista, and Finn Wolfhard, my sisters, did the hair for season
Dude.
3.
You know who I saw the other week?
What was that?
Nobody famous. Forget you guys.
You saw Andy Dowling. That's a fame.
Oh yeah, I live with Andy, so not to flex or anything, but I do live with Andy.
That's not
so
his last. That's not
yeah.
his last name, by the way. So no, we're not.
I
Gonna
will
say his last
flex.
name.
No.
I will flex again
No,
for a
it's
second.
not.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Tell
No,
us.
no.
Flex on
I
us.
saw I saw Steve Carell. I gave
What?
Did you really?
I sure did. I saw it was him and a Tesla.
And a
Of course.
Tesla.
Was it jailbroken?
It was yeah, he was vaping a Chromebook out the
blowing O's, my dog.
Ripping mad
No,
clouds,
he,
homie.
He was in I've seen a lot of Need for Speed, actually.
iClouds.
Oh.
Ripping mad iClouds.
This isn't the me flexing on how many celebrities I've seen.
That's a separate podcast. That's a separate podcast.
Oh my
Right,
gosh.
exactly.
Well, it's not. I'm not gonna stop it and then start it again. So it's the same one.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I think
Alright.
that's all she wrote.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if you are
Awesome.
watching this one, which you probably won't because it's so choppy, you're not gonna watch it. We I'll do a recap or whatever. Maybe I'll do like a recap.
What's up, guys? It's your boy.
Well,
What's
see,
up,
this is a
guys?
test, I guess, still because I don't know. We already started recording before started streaming before I could do anything, so I gotta change the bit rate and change. You know, I'm gonna do it 720 minus the face cam. Only do voices.
What are we, poor?
Yes,
Yeah.
Benny's.
Yeah, we're vaping
yeah.
Chromebooks, dude. We're
And-
hella poor.
Andy's super far away from his microphone. Benny's too close, and Noah on my end keeps cutting out, so I can only hear about
Yeah, me
too.
25% of the words. So
Wait, really? I keep cutting out?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Because I couldn't hear a lot of what you guys were saying either.
Oh
I
dang!
think
Maybe
my
it's 'cause it's a
internet-
difference of the. Well,
I
I
think
have
the internet is trash.
No,
maybe, and I'm dropping
Maybe.
136,000 frames, so that's
Wait,
it's 25% of frames are gone. So
Do
have
you guys
fun.
really just have to
We're
like,
guessing. We're
do
guessing what you're
guesswork
saying.
on?
Well, I get the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah, me too.
But you guys can't hear. Well, not everything.
No,
No,
not
we
everything.
can.
Like you just cut out just then.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, but I
That's-
couldn't say anything and be like, "Hey, bud, hey,
Yeah.
dude, you're cutting out, my
Yeah.
guy," because then we'd
Yeah,
be
there's no way
stuck.
to fix
No, that's not
Yeah.
good.
what.
It's not good.
Maybe
Man, if
maybe
you're
you only
hearing-
cut
Maybe it's
maybe
'cause
you only cut off
Hmm.
like when we hear it, but in the actual mix you come. I don't know.
No, it doesn't. I've seen the desktop audio slider go silent whenever Noah's cuts out.
Ah, damn it.
Oof.
It sucks.
Dang
Yeah.
it.
It wasn't doing that last time.
I don't.
It was,
remember. It
actually.
was. I don't remember.
I remember. I think it was.
Dang.
Yeah, you guys just cut out just a
Yeah,
second
just
ago.
like
you
you
guys
just-
keep,
oh my gosh, that sucks.
Yeah, so I've had to do some guesswork on what all you
Oh,
guys do.
maybe Skype will work better. Well,
Maybe
no,
actually.
No, there's actually there's a conference call thing that I used for the voice school, the voice classes I took one time.
Oh.
I paid $300.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why.
paid $300 and used it one time. So I'm looking up all the.
Nice.
But
Maybe doesn't Facebook have something similar?
I don't know.
Messages? Nah.
I don't know.
Well, they have video call, but you only do it with one person. Maybe we'll find a better, whatever.
Yeah, we
Maybe
may
it's
have to
Discord. I don't know.
Play around with.
So next time for sure, I'm only gonna do voices. It's gonna be screen capture though, so you're not gonna see my beautiful
Hey,
face. I'm gonna use
So
it
like,
as-
am I still too loud right now?
No, that's fine. Right there.
No, you're
Okay.
fine.
Just don't get excited. Um.
Don't get triggered, Benny.
Oh gosh. If you guys had, well, if Benny had a laptop, I'd buy him something. I'd buy him a USB interface.
Oh, I love you too.
And you have to buy your own microphone. I have one laying around, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am gonna. I am planning on buying a laptop soon.
Well, eventually,
But-
if this gets big enough, I would want to have its own space somewhere in like Chartersville. That's not the right name, but it's in between Atlanta and Hotlanta and Chattanooga. So it'd be in between, and we could. So we could have like an area in between, and we could just get Noah on the conference. Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird. Now I hear
Oh,
myself
I'm hearing
twice.
some feedback.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know whose feedback.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah, it's my microphone just died. My headphones died, so
Oh, that's okay.
Oh.
my dude. Oh, you were doing Bluetooth headphones?
yeah.
All right. Well,
That's probably why it sounded like I was a million miles away.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
it
it
sounded
was.
like you were
You sound
like on
fine now.
on a telephone call.
All right.
Now
Well,
I'm just using my phone.
I think that's gonna do it for this one.
Yeah, that's all she
This one
wrote.
kinda
Did you record it? You recorded it.
It's streaming right now, so I'm gonna
Oh, we're
export it to YouTube.
still streaming.
Oh, how many viewers do we got? What's our numbers?
Probably zero.
Oh
Probably
yeah,
honestly,
my
zero.
favorite number.
Well, usually there's
Did-
one
did-
because I watch it every time to make sure nothing's happening. But I saw it was just spinning,
Wait,
so I was like,
wait. What's the link? I'm gonna watch it.
Okay, I'll
We
put
can
it.
all tune in.
Okay, let me pull it up. Oops, damn it. There we go. Twitch. Well, I took
I'm about
the
to go
face
look
cam-
at it with Andy's computer.
Okay.
Original Nick, is that what it is?
No. That's my other Twitch channel. Original Nick 1337 is my first one. Let me.
Here we
log
go.
out
I got
on
it
this
up.
one. Oh, copy the link and put it up in the thing. You're gonna see that it's all choppy. And you're gonna be really upset because all this hard work for nothing. Honestly. Nope, damn it. It's Tons Cast because the original Nick show, but I might change it to Lorecast because it's not just me. It's not just me. Son of a bitch.
Oh,
Oh my God,
oh,
we all.
Star Wars Lord. This is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
11 viewers.
No, this is another podcast.
Oh, never mind.
No,
They were talking about Star
no,
Wars.
it's 11 views.
It's just-
Educational anime, pop culture, news,
Well-
English.
I mean, it makes sense because
All
pop
of them
culture
should.
for sure. Anime, they haven't made a Star Wars anime, have they? Yeah, they did. Yeah, someone made a fan made one.
All right, boys.
Are you watching it? Is it choppy?
No, that's not choppy.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
fine.
Oh, that's good. Okay, cause on my end it was choppy. So
No, it looks fine to me.
that's good. That's good.
No, it looks fine to me.
Okay, sweet. So I guess it's not all for loss.
I must be really laggy because I said that like a minute.
I guess it's not all for loss. Oh, that's.
Oh, you know what? Your audio.
It's because
is-
you're watching it.
Yeah.
Your audio is.
Stop watching it.
Stop watching it.
Because it's gonna keep echoing.
Yeah, none of us. Yeah, we don't like watching it.
Well, it's not that it's gonna keep echoing over and over again.
Yeah.
Infinite feedback.
Hit mute. Hit
What are
mute if
we
you
gonna?
wanna watch it.
What are we gonna talk about
Next,
I don't
we could talk about either Panda Man or we could talk about something in the MCU lore. Maybe.
Let's not talk about Panda Man.
Well, I love Panda.
Why don't you want to talk about Panda Man?
Panda Man's sick. Dude.
Well, it has a lot of extended lore. Well, okay.
It does, actually.
I made
It kinda
some of the
does.
extended lore, so I sent it to Benny and.
Panda Man. Let's be honest. Panda Man is the only like superhero
Alright,
who is
So
capable
it's confirmed.
of.
It's confirmed. Panda Man is episode 2. Hope you enjoy that. Ben.
Panda Man could have donned Infinity and
The Panda.
snapped Thanos.
Well, now Noah's not. Skip it anymore. That's weird.
Oh,
Oh no, there he went.
look at that. There we go. You jinxed it, dude.
Oh, I did. Dang.
I don't know if it's my audio or what, or my internet or what.
I don't know. It might
How
be.
about that? Sounds
That's
fun.
sucky California internet.
Well, I have AT&T internet here in hot Atlanta, so
Dude, I have AT&T too, and it sucks. It's terrible.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to flex on y'all, but we have the fastest
Yeah,
internet
yeah.
in the nation here in Chattanooga.
so.
Everyone's
All right,
flexing
well,
on
I guess that's
Stupid
gonna do it
fiber
for this
optic.
episode, guys. I'm gonna probably skip on putting this one on Spotify, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
If it's not Skippy, then it doesn't matter. So, I'm gonna go
All right.
ahead.
Send us a link when you have it all edited.
All right, I'm not gonna edit this one. I think I'm just gonna put it up. Put it raw.
Oh,
Oh,
going in raw.
Oh,
Okay, so-
whoa.
Sick, dude.
So, we need to maybe do like a sign off. So, we're gonna do sign on next time too. So, this is
Yeah, we didn't introduce
All right,
ourselves.
so I'll be the host.
My name is Benny, and I'm not important.
All right, stop. All right, okay. Here's what we're gonna do.
But you are imported.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. At the start of every episode, we're gonna settle it now. We're gonna say I'm gonna change the name to Lorecast whenever I can change the name because we're gonna talk about lore. That's what it's gonna be about. Maybe nerd news on like once a week, but it's gonna be like, hey, welcome to Lorecast. My name is Nick. I'm your host. Or I'm gonna say the original Nick Show. Joining me is
Who died and gave you the host position?
I mean, I'm the one who had the idea.
He is doing all the work.
Hey, you guys want to start our own podcast?
Stop.
Without
yeah,
no,
dude.
no.
The
I'll be
unoriginal
upset.
Nick Show.
Okay, so I'll be like, hey everyone. I mean, if you guys want to host a video, you can host it too. It's not just me.
No.
But, so if
Oh, we should do it with my great internet.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
but what we could do is be like, hey everyone. Today I'm hosting it. It's like, oh hey, I'm the original Nick Show. I'm hosting it today. Joining me today is, and I'd be go to Noah, and he could either shout him out as Noah, his YouTube name or whatever. And then at the end we can be like, this has been Lorecast. I was your host, Original Nick, and then Noah can do his thing, and Benny and Andy, and then you guys can shout out. You can be like your YouTube channel or Twitch or Twitter at the end. You'd be like, hey, this has been the original.
Shout out to my
Nick.
Cash App. I need money.
Yeah.
So I would
Venmo
say,
me.
I'd be like, hey, this has been Lorecast. I was your host, Original Nick Show. Follow me on YouTube, the Original Nick Show, Original Nick Games. Follow me on Twitter. You know, all that jazz. So
Right.
let's do the practice now. This is episode 1. So,
Okay, so but after you, who goes first?
Nick goes first because
We
he's
can
the
go in
host.
order.
well, just because
like-
I'm the host, and then, dang, I guess it doesn't. Let's go by order of who's on.
The Discord. So Benny, me, then Andy.
Sure, yeah,
Sure.
okay. Whoever's hosting goes first, and then we go by order of. Well, that's in alphabetical order. So every time it'll be in alphabetical order.
So it's
It'd be
Nick,
whoever's-
Andy, me,
Yeah.
Noah.
But unless someone else is hosting, then they would be like if Noah's hosting,
Right.
it'd be Benny, me, then Andy. If Andy's hosting, then it's Benny, Noah, then me. Make sense?
Okay, so
Okay.
for right now,
So for
it's
right now, it's
Nick,
me.
Andy, me, Noah.
Yeah, it's me, Benny, Noah, then Andy. Because we're going by usernames.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes because
I
then
was
it's
gonna
like
say
good on the
Andy
list.
is A is first.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
confused for a second.
But it's like going by username, so it's like
okay.
okay. So this has been the first episode of Lorecast. I have been your host, the Original Nick Show. Follow me on YouTube, the Original Nick Show, Original Nick Space Games. My Twitter is I am Original Nick, and that's me. Joining me today was Benny.
Okay, so now, what do I say again?
You say I'll be like joining me
say
today
goodbye and
was,
plug
and then you
whatever you
say
want.
Benny. Benny.
Do I just be like, no, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't
say
know what to
Benny
say.
and then shout out your Twitter or whatever.
Oh man, what is my Twitter?
Oh my gosh. Skip it this time.
I'm making
Skip it
this
this
up.
time.
you don't
Do it-
Somebody
do
else
it
go.
next time.
Somebody else go. Somebody else go.
I know it. No.
I'm Noah. That's me. I don't want you following me because I don't need stalkers. I don't need more stalkers.
Oh my gosh.
got so many.
Okay, and now Andy.
Goodbye. This was Andy, and I also don't exist outside of this podcast. So as soon as
Dang,
this thing's
ouch.
over, I'm just gonna whoop.
Dang.
That's it.
Maybe I'll start our official Twitter just for the podcast. So then everyone
Oh
can.
no, because
Oh,
then we'll have
yeah.
to actually interact with people
I'll-
and.
Well, okay. Well, since I'm doing all the work here, I'll be in charge of it.
I could be your social media manager since I'm
Man.
studying rugby.
Well, then it'd be like we could have fan interactions by the one fan.
I can
that
put
we
it on
have.
my resume. I'll be like,
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah.
was actually the social media
Ran a
manager.
failed podcast.
Hey, it's not failing yet. Just started.
We can't even. I can guarantee that nobody, if someone even listened to it all the way through, wouldn't be able to understand what was being said.
Hey, there's
That's
gonna
true.
be some.
Because we
deep
couldn't even
nerd.
understand what was being said.
Well, hey, my mom watches every episode that I upload onto my YouTube channel. So hey, one
That's what she
big.
said.
she has to do that.
No, she
That
doesn't.
doesn't she have to do that?
That's in her
No.
job description.
Not subscribe to me. They
Yeah.
just watch it.
Oh well. Oh,
Uh-huh,
okay.
yeah, so
so
there's-
she's gonna kind of support you, but also
And
not.
one of my managers likes to watch it to make fun of me, so he's not gonna watch all the way through, of course. But,
Oh, that's sick. He'll have a lot of
he
A lot of
content.
material.
he hates nerd stuff.
Oh,
dude.
that's good.
You
Yeah,
should
well-
dox
well-
him. You should just say his address.
no. Well,
I'm
well,
gonna
I'm
make.
joking.
well, he likes
I'm
he
gonna
likes the
make a-
MCU. He's watched most of the MCU movies, so if we talk about that, maybe he'll listen. So there you
I'm
go.
gonna make a podcast that makes fun of this podcast. Every
Yes.
episode.
Oh my gosh. If you
Ironically.
do, that'd be kind of funny. It'd be everyone but me.
Yeah.
They're all just like, oh man, this sucks.
Well, you could be, well, it could be like whoever's not hosting that day gets to be in the riffraff, the raffing,
The riffraff.
The
the
rapping.
riffing. Shut up. It's riffing. So whoever's not hosting that episode can riff on the episode. Be like, oh, he put so much time into it, and now look what a loser.
And then,
Alright.
of course, we're gonna have to have another podcast that makes fun of that podcast.
Yeah. Then the guy who was hosting the original one comes on, and then the guy who hosted the riffing one can be in it.
We're
It's
gonna
like, listen, I'm not
we'll
salty.
set up our own.
but-
We'll set up our own podcast universe that's like extended in a
There we
million
go.
different
All right, don't
directions.
The
don't
EU.
test me. I had a big old set of web series that we're going to interlock at one point. So I mean, I'll write it down, my dude. Don't give me the ideas.
Ooh.
Oof.
Yeah. Well,
Get 'em.
I actually wouldn't mind having you guys could do the secondary podcast where you make fun of this one, and it would be fine. I'd be okay with that.
Right.
And it could
I
be,
actually have a
extended
question.
lore. Yeah, go ahead.
About this whole thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
So is this just gonna be like the general format where it's just like, hey, here's a topic and we're just gonna talk whatever, or is it gonna be
Well-
like, well, here's a topic, like for example, if the next episode was, I don't know, for example, Star Trek,
Yeah.
are we gonna be like, well, this is the specific things we want to talk about, like what about the lore
Well, yeah,
of
that was
the first show?
that was the plan. But
Right.
the plan is so we're gonna lay down the groundwork again. Maybe I'll have to edit it out to where it's at the beginning. But it's where someone would suggest in the Discord. I have a text set up where it says episode topics,
Okay.
and you would type in there, and then we would look at it and we would decide, yes, this is a good topic, and we would all do research on it, and then we could have a
Okay.
deep discussion on it. So that
Oh
was
my
the
God.
plan.
It's probably good we started with Star Wars then because
Yeah, because
there's
we all
too
know
much
about
to
Star
talk
Wars.
about.
We all know about
Yeah,
Star
we're
Wars.
semi-knowledgeable
And there's,
now.
and there's
Yeah.
still too much to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm actually an authority on Star Wars.
I got my minor in
Actually,
Star Wars.
Yeah, I studied Star Wars in college.
I think you can.
I don't like
Some
any
colleges.
Star Wars, so that makes me more my opinion more valid than yours.
Oh my god.
My favorite Star Wars character is Captain Picard.
My favorite Star Wars character is a sweet potato.
Oh, dude, yes. Oh my gosh, sweet potato with a pink lightsaber. Nice.
You mean a sweet potato that like mind probed everybody in Rogue One? Is that
Oh
what
my
you're talking about?
gosh, dude, he was
You
the
mean the
one
Yam
who
Sith Lord?
he was Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
The damn sweet potato. So that's how it should go. Everyone who listens to the whole thing.
Maybe we
is-
should make a tentative like outline of what we're gonna talk about. I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what the episode
And we should
topic
probably-
is about. That's in the
Yeah.
section. You type it down.
We should
and
probably
then
also come up.
you can-
Let's Google Doc.
We technically could though, because Google Docs is actually really helpful.
Yeah, it's the internet one, right? Where you
Yeah.
yeah. Dude.
Yeah, it's
All
I
right,
was
crazy.
just
well,
kidding.
looks like I'm
Let's
about
send
to-
each other snail mail through the post service.
Yeah, I think we should. I got a
that's
bunch
too
of
fast.
stamps.
I got,
Gotta get rid of
dude, I
them.
got carrier pigeons. F you. I got area pigeons.
Nerd, I use
we'll
smoke
do one
signal.
podcast. We'll do one podcast episode every 6 months.
I got owls.
We should all learn Morse code.
I'm actually gonna write some. Oh, what's the alien thing? Like when they put the like. You know, like the fields of corn, they burn like something into it. And
Oh,
it's like
crop
the
circles.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crop
crop
yeah.
circles. Yeah, there we go. We're actually gonna do crop.
Let me guess,
circles
you're an Area
so
51
that people
stormer.
we can all see it from.
Hey,
the,
I Naruto ran around those bullets, my dude.
Wow, the delay, audio delay is really messing me up.
Yeah. Oh well. It's too late.
That's God's way of telling us to get out of here and go to sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys
It's,
need to go to
it's
sleep.
daggone 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's almost
Facts.
1 a.m.
Well, okay, so
Almost late.
that's the plan. Is we're going to talk about a specific topic within the lore of shows, movies, video games. Maybe episodes without Noah. We can talk about anime because Noah doesn't watch anime.
Nope, not
No
for
one's
me.
a nerd.
The only
I
ones he
can
would
talk-
like.
I can talk briefly about some.
I can
specific
talk
shows.
about- I was
I'm
gonna
not
make a
very
joke.
well versed.
So
I
the
was gonna
only.
say, we can talk about.
the DxD, lol.
All right. Okay. I don't
I
watch
can
that.
talk. I can talk for hours about that.
I was gonna say, we can't talk about anime, but I can talk about hentai.
Whoa.
Hey, those got
Anime
some
in the
good plots,
streets,
my
hentai in the sheets, am I right?
Senpai on
I'm
the
only
streets,
watching it for the
hentai on
plot.
the-
I'm only watching it for this show, man. Only for this show, like to research, man.
Dude, I got a minor in Asian studies with a focus in Japanese, so I mean I'm well versed in the hentai scene.
Have you taken any hentai classes yet?
Dude, I freaking wish, my dude. Oh my god, I'm gonna start an ahegami class. I'm gonna be the club president of. I'm gonna start a hentai club at Flenisaw State University, where I'm going.
Yeah, you should also grow out a neckbeard and wear a fedora.
You absolutely should, and buy a waifu body pillow.
Dude,
Waifu, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Commit.
Start a Doki
a
Doki
dragging,
hentai
dude,
club.
Just
one of those
embrace it, man.
cowgirls, you know what I'm saying? Like a half,
Commit to your major or minor, I should say.
maybe a double major in Japanese.
Oh my god. All right, well, I actually gotta go, guys.
Yeah, I was about
Alright.
to say we got.
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna
Dope.
end the stream here in about 5 seconds. So next time we'll be well
Alright.
prepared.
No, we won't.
Yeah, no, we won't. What are you
Don't
talking
kid
about?
We
yourself.
better be. We better be.
No.
Maybe that should
What?
be.
What are you gonna do, Nick? What are you gonna do if we're all like, yeah, we did our research, and you're the only one who did it because you're a nerd? What are you
Maybe
gonna
that
do?
should be.
Oh, I'm gonna feel like a loser then. Be like, well, so do you guys want to break the floor with this? And then it's like,
No, shut up, Nick.
no. Did you hear
No
about
one
the
likes
door?
it.
I'm
Okay,
hyped up
all
on
right.
Monster Energy drink.
All right, catch us another day from now. Give us
Maybe
a few
maybe
days
the name of the podcast should be well researched.
There we go.
second
Talk about things
podcast.
we know
Second
nothing
podcast.
about.
All right,
so
well, I
I'm gonna
gotta head
stop the
out.
stream
See
about
y'all.
5, 4, 3, 2. Bye, everyone. See you some other day.